You're listening to Canary Cry News Talks live stream pre-stream. You're here 1 minute early. Congratulations. We're happy to be back. And a big congratulations to A Mother over on YouTube for first post of the day. Oh, we're so happy to be back. We're going to shake off some of the dust here, the rust, the New Year's confetti, and get back into the groove of things, folks. So remember to follow us on multiple platforms. If you haven't yet, definitely follow us on twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio or youtube.com/Canary Cry Radio. We're also on DLive and Facebook, all over the place. So make sure you follow us in multiple locations. It's the only way to make sure you get the notification. Okay, other than that, as usual, stay hydrated, folks. We got a lot to go through on this show. And Happy New Year. Let's get going.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is January 4th, 2021. This is episode 282, and today it's a needle in a VAXHACK. And you know me, I am your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we praise Jesus while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events here in 2021. Basil, how you doing? How's everybody doing? Good to be here.
How you doing? How's everybody doing?
Yeah, everybody goes before you.
Everybody's doing great. Oh, we're doing it. We're back. This was this the longest break that we've taken? I guess it wasn't that long, huh? It was really just a week since the 27th.
8 days.
8 days? Okay.
Today's the 8th day, so...
Wow, it feels so much longer than that. There's been so much going on.
This past week was very long. I don't know why, but it was a long week.
I kind of like it. It's nice. It's nice to have 8 days feel like... I don't know. It felt like a couple weeks at least. And it's nice. I don't know. I guess that was the theme of 2020. But when you're having a break, it's nicer to have it go a while. But so I was going to say, getting back into the groove of things here for 2021, that maybe we were going to have to play some catch up, but really not that much catching up to do.
Yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, yeah, it was a new year, and I think our top of the show information updates and stuff like that will be a quick roundup of what took place in New Year's. So
yeah. So what'd you do for New Year's? Anything exciting? See any fireworks?
No. I had one of the boring neighborhoods. My neighbors and I, actually, it was more so for the 3-year-old. Went outside with pots and pans and sticks and
made some loud noises.
Made loud noises at 9 p.m. So
good.
Yeah.
9 p.m.
Yeah. Well, come on. They can't stay up till midnight. You're just asking for trouble to keep 3-year-olds up till midnight. Yeah, I was fading away fairly quickly after that, but
I was in bed by 10. And then I was watching, some Great British Bake Off, as any cool person does when they're ringing in the new year. And 12 o'clock rolled around, and some people in my neighborhood, I heard some fireworks going off, and I go out there. And I think some people in my neighborhood made their own explosives. They weren't fireworks proper. They seemed kind of janky.
Nice.
So that was very exciting.
Good job. Good job, neighbors. FBI is now coming for you.
I was going to say, I don't know. I couldn't tell if I was happy or afraid to know that my neighbors knew how to improvise explosives.
Yeah, one of these days you're going to walk out there with your Tesla coil gun and just deactivate all of them.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
That'd be a good New Year's fireworks show.
Yeah. I am here. It's like
Tesla coil
He-Man.
gun
Yeah.
firing off. Let's see. What was I gonna say? Oh, I had something important, and then I totally forgot about it.
Like on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube
exactly
live.
What it was.
Yeah.
Yes. Remember, while we're getting started, everybody, remember to hit the like button on YouTube or wherever you are. Helps out the algorithms for the live show and helps spread the show while it's live, which is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You read my note. That's what it was.
Yeah,
I forgot what I was going to say, and then I forgot to look at the notes. Not going to lie. There is a little bit of rust having to shake off here.
Apparently. Yeah, I've been itching this past week and just sitting around and seeing all the news come in. I was itching to get a show out, and actually one of the nights I started to talk to the wife about some of the stories, and she's like, why are you talking to me about this? Like, you need to go do your show. And I'm like, I know, I'm itching. So that's what happens if I don't do the show. But before we get too into things, this episode, what we're going to try to do is go through a whole bunch of headlines and stories. I think we literally have like 30 stories to cover.
Yeah, we're going to zoom.
Fairly short amount of time. And what we'll probably try to do is not read word for word all the stories, but some of them we will dig into more than others. Because there was just so much that happened in this last week. But before we get into it, do you want to announce the winner of the knife contest?
Oh, did we write it down? Yes. Hold on.
We didn't write it down. I didn't write it down.
I have it on my Twitter. Let me grab it on my Twitter. Yes. So we did have the knife contest happen during our break, and it was very exciting. Overall, it was a very successful event. For a lot of reasons. I know there's a lot of people who are disappointed they did not win the drawing. There were accusations of selection rigging, and we have to repeat, there was no widespread evidence of selection rigging, and these baseless conspiracy theories are degrading our podcastocracy. Oh, I ran out of breath. So thank you for everyone who participated in the social media blitz knife drawing, a custom blade created by producer Nigel. And I got to say, we're not going to show any pictures now because the knife is still being shipped. But when we do, when we are allowed to show pictures of it, I was incredibly impressed, Gons.
Yeah.
I did not know. I mean, look, I have full faith in our producers when they say they are, our creators can create something, make something. But when I saw the pictures of this thing, I got to get one. I must get one. So Nigel, be ready to take orders, my man. But yes, so thank you to everybody who participated, and the winner, who was announced on Twitter a few days ago, was a Twitter account named Today in Christian History, which is kind of cool. And that's at Liz Brown 217. So congratulations to Liz Brown 217 on Twitter. Everybody else should congratulate them as well, because it's pretty cool. And, we actually gained, thousands of new downloads and streams and things like that I think we can pretty much directly connect with the social media blitz.
Yeah, that was really cool of everybody who participated. And yes, it was a random generated winner. I know there were some people pleading for their victory based on some good arguments. Good arguments.
They were trying to collude. They gave us some good arguments as to why they should win, but we had to be faithful to the integrity. We had to keep the integrity of our raffle system intact, and we did. So there you go.
Yeah, and the knife, definitely, I can confirm.
It will kill.
Yes.
So beware, Liz. Just be careful with it.
So there you go. Oh, and just to piggyback. I don't know what that means. Just I'll be piggyback off of that. what I was going to say was it was so successful as a social media blitz that we were kind of bandying about the idea of doing more of these for a lot of reasons. One of them, it worked to help out the show, so that's always good. Also, it brought us so much joy to see producers of the show producing actual material items, which is very cool, and connecting, like people connecting through this. And so if there's any producers out there who have some sort of skill or product, I guess if you have a business or something, I don't know, if anybody wants to make something available for another, drawing, send us an email. I don't know. Let's work it up. Work it up. Work it out. Work it in.
Did you talk this past week, or did you just sit in the corner?
No, it's all been bottled up.
Okay.
I did wake up and do my workout today, so I'm a little jazzed from that.
Jazzed and jacked?
Yeah, my shirts are starting to fit funny. In the good way, not the 9 months of quarantine way. What was I going to say? What was I saying?
I don't know.
If you're out there and you are a producer, a listener of the show, and you maybe have a product or are a hobbyist of some kind and want to make something available to the Canarians out there so we can do another drawing, send us an email at canarycryradio@gmail.com. I want to do it again.
Yeah, and Nigel, who made the knife, said that he's willing to do it once a year. So
he said no promises.
No promises,
but
he suggested
he might be able to do it once a year. So I think if we find, a dozen producers who want to, get their product out there, give something away and connect the community, I think we can make that happen once a month.
Yep. I definitely agree. So get your hashtags ready. Because
get your hashtags ready, everybody.
We will get another competition out there. Maybe announce something this week. We'll see. But I want to get into this the New Year's thing coming out of Seattle, the Space Needle. This is livemusic.com, I'm guessing. T-Mobile presents dazzling New Year's display on and above Seattle Space Needle watch, and it's a video. A lot of people have shared it, and people are talking about it. I purposely didn't watch any of the breakdowns. I know Enter the Stars did a breakdown on it. I didn't watch any of it because I wanted to take my own notes, and you as the public can break it down, confirm, deny.
People were doing breakdowns.
Oh yeah,
it almost didn't even need breakdowns.
I know. It really,
you're like, oh.
Okay. It really doesn't. But some people, some people do need it. But so for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the Space Needle had this AR extravaganza New Year's countdown thing, and it's pretty funny because there's video of somebody that lives in Seattle who has the Space Needle in the background, like in his house, his actual window, the real Space Needle, and he videotaped his TV screen doing all the crazy, AR stuff, and then the actual Space Needle in the background. Oops, sorry. No, I was trying to do it without sound. Come on, computer. So yeah, the footage is pretty funny because he's showing all this crazy AR, explosion of universes on the TV screen, and then the actual Space Needle, which nothing was happening. Which I think is kind of a commentary on what people will believe.
Whether or not people believe that it was actually happening, I think it's a clear message as to the future of public displays. Where I think especially in this time, of course, where people are, especially if you're in California, stuck in your house and not allowed to do anything or see other human beings. Doing these augmented reality, virtual reality, or just televised CGI displays in replacement of our sort of traditional extravagant public celebrations. I hate to say it, Gons, but it's that naughty word, the new normal.
Yeah, and if you have read, and I've referenced it before, Atopia Chronicles, you have this elite who live on this island, and they're all freaked out about this storm that's going to come and wipe out the island. It so happened that storm was not real. Sorry to give away spoilers, but the rest of the world were like, "What do you guys are insane. What are you talking about?" But somebody had put a bug in the VR system, and they saw a big storm coming towards them, and they were acting accordingly.
Yes, well, it's a good mind control device.
It
All right,
is.
give us your breakdown.
So real quick, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but you see the Space Needle. They do a countdown, and at the end of the countdown, at the top of the needle, you get an explosion, what looks like a universe and stars, and looks like maybe the Milky Way galaxy spiraling. And it kind of tornadoes down like a whirlwind towards the bottom of the Space Needle. And what emerges is this digitized, looks like a tree, kind of like a tree, branches and stuff, but it's all digital looking. And this tree develops or creates DNA. And it goes into a DNA sequence, of course, right? DNA, spiraling in the Space Needle. I was going to do this a little later, but the idea of the needle, in this time we're in right now with WACCINE, being a big issue, and also the idea of Osiris and his parts. It's not exactly a Space Needle shape, but you can make the argument, perhaps, that they were making some kind of commentary on the changing of DNA, or at least moving in that direction. So anyway, DNA spiraling, pretty obvious. And this now goes into... Oh, and by the way, the tree going into DNA, I think, speaks to humanity here, and the digitization of humanity, so to speak. That, like a tree of life type of deal, but it's digital. Mm-hmm. And then from that emerges these shapes, these dodecahedrons and isocahedrons, I think is what it's called.
Some sacred geometry
stuff. And I did see the screenshot or the thumbnail from Enter the Stars, and he pointed this out, and I would have done the same. There's a point at which a 6-pointed, kind of a manipulated star shape comes out. It is the shape, or the theme symbol for Thelema. So that was pretty obvious there when I noticed it. But yep, Enter the Stars had that in the in his breakdown that I didn't watch. I only saw the thumbnail there. So I want to credit him for that, even though I probably would have seen the same thing. And then the needle splits a cell. And you see the cells splitting over and over again. Again, this idea that you're creating this new thing. And you think, oh, you're going, I don't know about that. It's a little wild. But then all those pieces comes back together and forms a larva. A larva shape. Oh
my gosh. Yeah. And then, not to be ignored, the theme around the Space Needle and the vaccination pandemic.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So the needle is involved in all of these things, which is whether you think it's a stretch or not, as far as the mass sort of mind control. Mass mind control is the intense name we like to call it, but it's really just marketing for the vaccination.
Yeah, at least the esoteric messaging of the vaccination, a needle, a giant needle in the sky, changing our humanity. So anyway, so we've had our sequence from the digitized DNA to the symbolic occult symbols to the needle splitting the cell and then reemerging as a larva, and this larva turns into, of course, a beautiful butterfly. Project Monarch, right? You got the Monarch mind control. You got, of course, it's a butterfly. They've always used that imagery. And then it goes into a whole segment of what looks like underwater, the abyss, so to speak, some creatures and stuff, the oceans. And, you can kind of give a stretch on some of the stuff, but I decided not to, like the lotus flower. And maybe there's some other things in there that you can see like an owl shape forming, Baphomet head type of situation at the top of the lotus flower. Yeah. But you keep going here. I'm just going to skip through here. You got the other thing, the jellyfish, I thought was interesting because if those of you who have been around for a while, I've been trying to find more information on the jellyfish in the sky. There was some old UFO footage from like the 90s or something. People catching things in the sky that looked like jellyfish. And they were kind of transparent in the sky. And I don't know if it was a blue beam test or if it's actually interdimensional entities that fly up there or whatever.
Yeah, and then there was an explanation that it was rocket trails and stuff in some of the more recent things, or recent accounts.
Yeah. So you got that going on, these jellyfish spiraling around the Space Needle. And, it's nice looking, so to speak, but it's clearly underneath the water, which is this abyss reference here. And let me just skip through. And then it goes into, this part. There's a, talk about the Tower of Babel, right? There's a part where this like energy shoots from the bottom and shoots out of the needle. This like pink energy-ish type thing. And, you can make all sorts of references there. You can talk about the vaccine, or you can talk about the Tower of Babel trying to reach heaven, these spirits or whatever.
Right.
Or it's just, just cool design on the Space Needle
here, folks.
Just some interesting AR technology on the Space Needle. And then it gets into this sort of digitized, again, a spiral, and kind of like a keyhole that spins back and forth, almost like they're unlocking something.
Ooh.
Or like unlocking some kind of cosmic thing. And then there's like an angelic entity flapping its wings at the top. And if you watch carefully, this angelic entity kind of turns into an alien face right before it sinks back down. It's a very interesting situation. I think if those of you watching, let me try to pause it on that spot. It's right about there. There it is, kind of like an alien face type situation.
Wow. Yeah, that's funny. It totally comes up as like a Luciferian, angel of light type of thing, and then morphs into an alien face. Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Perfect.
And then it goes into the keyhole, unlocking the abyss, maybe the key to the abyss.
Oh my god.
Opening up. Yeah, come on. This is ridiculous.
That's so funny.
I know.
And it's funny, but did you see any other landmarks around the world do anything like this, or was this just a Seattle thing?
I wasn't paying attention enough to know, but
I haven't seen anything else floating around.
I think in some other countries they did some drone stuff with like somebody did the BLM fist in the air and stuff like that. So I know there was some stuff going on out there, but let me continue on here. Let me try to get through this. Again, lots of Kundalini imagery too. For those of you who know Kundalini, the energy, the 7 spots on your body that channels different types of energy.
The serpent lays on your spine.
Yeah, that rides up and opens the chakras and all this kind of thing. So they do that, more technological images and shapes. Let me get to the Kundalini section. Oh, there it is. The Kundalini. And the Kundalini one, again, it gets to the top, like the crown chakra, and it opens up to the universe. It has this kind of opening where what you see come out of it are these tentacles. These just like crazy octopus tentacles.
Great.
It's spiraling and spinning in the air. It's like, oh, cool. No, nothing to see here, guys.
I did see those tentacles. That was the image I saw everywhere. I'm like, oh, great. Yeah.
Cthulhu, whatever. The Kraken. The Kraken is released, everybody.
Oh, maybe it is the Kraken.
It is the Kraken. Oh. It'll be awesome if Trump is in the needle. He steps out, Yeah. Release the Kraken.
All right. So basically, as we would have, if we had to guess, we would have guessed, a mass symbolism display of.
We're not done. We're not done.
Oh, are we not?
No, okay. We're not done.
Great.
Okay, but yes, mass symbolism, lots going on. More DNA spirals going into the needle or going up the needle, and then again more ascension imagery. All these rings spiraling upwards. Again, Tower of Babel trying to reach heaven. And there's a part where eventually what comes down, I think, has some kind of representation of, do you remember black goo?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I think it's pink because you can't really do black AR. You know, I mean, you could, but you can't really see it. It's not as compelling.
Well, just black against a black knight.
Right,
really.
right. Yeah. And so let me get to that spot here. Yeah, there's like bodies
nice
of people
solar
skating.
system.
Yeah, solar system, people skating and dancing. Yay. Let me move on. Come on. Where is it?
And if
there
you're
it
just
is.
listening to the podcast version, if you haven't checked this out, you should probably check it out. You can also check it out on the video on youtube.com/Canary Cry Radio.
Yep. Or Face Like the Sun, either or. But yeah, here it is. They do it in pink, but you can clearly tell that it's like a goo substance that's dripping down the tower, and it meets up in the middle. And yeah, again, it's goo. There's no other way to really describe it. It's goo. And
it's conscious nanoparticles that are going to take over the universe.
Yeah, and more lighting up of the tower, more things coming up and down the tower, and then an explosion, like a Tesla coil explosion. And you know what's really interesting about they do sections of explosions up the needle tower, and it kind of reminds me of different, I don't know, almost like levels. Again, chakras exploding maybe, but also for some reason to me it reminded me of the towers, the two towers, and how like the different levels were stacking on top of each other. I don't know if there's anything there, but just some things to keep in mind as you watch it.
Okay.
Big explosion, more stacking of different levels, and then more explosions and fireworks, even though I don't think those were real fireworks. Those are all fake fireworks. And eventually there's a big finale here where there's all kinds of, again, more electric, digital things surrounding the tower. And eventually it goes up and it shoots out the top. More energy, explosions. And one of the explosions at the end creates, let me just get there, clearly showing, just I don't know, what's the right word? I want to use the right word here.
A what?
I'm trying to use the right word. You see the word in my notes. I don't want to use that word.
No, that's it's yeah, okay. I mean, if we're thinking of the Space Needle as a representation of Osiris's missing member, it's the explosion of life.
Explosion of life into two faces at the very end. These two faces emerge in the clouds.
Very ambiguous faces.
Very ambiguous, almost like the transhuman.
You'd think they look like male faces. There's no hair. It looks like the face of, an iRobot.
Right. Kind of like like an anonymous, generic human face. Both maybe one is male, one's female. I don't know. Yeah. Hard to tell.
And then good. Some big hands. We always got to have big hands.
Some giant hands cradling the needle. And that's pretty much it. There's
kind of looks like Elon Musk's face.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
If he had alopecia.
Yeah, well, okay. Could be.
All right.
But there you go. There's a little bit more in there, but that's kind of my quick, few minute breakdown of the whw situation here with the Space Needle. Obviously, there's a lot of imagery, and some people might go deeper. Some people might speculate more on it. But, I wanted to give my 5-minute breakdown.
Denver airport artist on Twitch mentions that the two faces could be the two witnesses.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, they're just counterfeiting everything.
The wave. Yeah.
So there you go.
All right. Well, very good. Good breakdown there. Again, if you're listening just to the audio version, check out the videos. They're all over the place. But if you head to our YouTube channels, you can watch along with Gonz's breakdown. Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. The election back and forth just continues, Gonz. And as everybody knows, we are apolitical on this show, but and also we only really like to speak to things that we feel like we have something to add to. There's a lot of good election coverage going on, but we thought there was a few things just to mention as we go through.
And so my question is very direct. Is voting by mail secure? No.
That's
Yes.
right. What do you got first?
First, there's been a few people passing away as of late, last like 2 weeks. They're all politicians. They're all fairly young and very suspicious. All Republican, all pro-Trump politicians. So on January 2nd, it was reported Pennsylvania State Rep Mike Reese dies at age 42.
Okay.
And then you had Virginia State Senator Ben Chafin dies from COVID-19.
Yeah, I heard about this guy.
Yeah. And then Louisiana Congressman-elect Luke Letlow dies at 41 from COVID-19. Another Republican member. Minnesota State Senator Jerry Ralph dies after contracting COVID-19. This is back in the 18th of December, but...
Do you know who these politicians are? Are they all Republicans or?
I think they're all Republicans, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
And they all died from...
Republicans?
And they all supposedly died...
dying from the virus.
Yeah. So, very interesting. You know, hard to say. Hard to say that it's natural, but it just... that's a lot of people dying right before this big election pinnacle or peak with all
it's almost the 6th, huh?
We're 2 days out of the 6th, the March and all that stuff. And so I just thought it was very interesting that John Roberson over there, a friend of the show, was pointing it out, and others were pointing it out as well. I think there was a 5th one that I didn't see listed here, but there was a 5th Republican that also died for reasons.
Isaiah 42:14 in Twitch says conservatism is a comorbidity, apparently.
Very good. So yeah, thoughts and prayers, I guess, out to these families, but very strange, very bizarre.
Very suspicious.
What a coincidence. Yeah, nice coincidence. And then in the last couple days, the Trump tapes were released. This is Reuters headline. In a recorded call, Trump pressures Georgia official to find votes to overturn election. I listened to 5 minutes or so of it. It was all edited. It was, I don't know. I just feel like it was a big distraction.
Did you bring any clips? Do we have any clips to hear for ourselves?
I don't think it's worth playing.
Don't even think it's worth it?
No, because it's like Trump saying, like, you know, the data shows that where are the votes or whatever, and then the representatives on the other call or the other line are like, your information is false. And then it just cuts edit. There's like all these edits in it. I don't know. It's weird.
Oh, they didn't release the full tapes? They're edited tapes?
I think there might be a copy of it somewhere out there on Reddit or something, but the ones that got a lot of play on Twitter and other social media was a very heavily edited version of the conversation. And of like, Trump says something and then the response is like, you're wrong. Or like,
no, they're just not having it.
Yeah, it's just weird.
That's been the thing with every attempt that the Trump team has had to try to roll things back or at least get some momentum going in their direction, is they're just not even letting this guy get started. They're not letting him even take the first step. You know, all the court cases being dropped on the matter of standing and not even allowed to be to present evidence, et cetera, et cetera. They're just a full brick wall, not even allowing the entertainment of the idea that something may be up.
Yeah, and it's very strange, too, because a lot of people, especially on the Twitter lefty type of stuff, are like, oh, this is Trump breaking laws. And it's kind of like, okay, maybe, but he's trying to point out other laws that were probably broken, too. So don't pretend like you're on some kind of moral high ground.
I don't think they're going to let him do it. I think this stonewalling is going to continue.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going to happen. It's crazy. We've never known what's going to happen, and we don't pretend to know.
Yeah,
that kind of drives me crazy. When there's some people out there who pretend to know what's going to happen, and this is very interesting.
Yeah, not if you're a supporter of LLin Wood on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
I mean he is going hard. You know, QAnon type of stuff that he's claiming. He claimed Chief Justice John Roberts and a multitude of powerful individuals worldwide are being blackmailed into a horrendous scheme involving rape and murder of children captured on videotape.
Oh, doing the full Q thing.
Well, yeah, but that is some heavy-duty accusations.
Yeah, so LLin Wood, he's a lawyer. What's his deal? What's his whole thing?
He's
Hold on,
yeah,
let
so
me
he's
see if I can pull up a whole thing on him.
Attorney at LLin Wood, PC, speak truth, be fearless, fight back for freedom.
Yeah. Well, that's all I've seen. Like, I've only seen Lin Wood in the context of, like, he's an attorney who's just making a lot of noise.
I don't think
I'm wondering
officially...
if he has, like, a background or...
Oh, he did do something recently. I don't remember what it was. Not recently, like in the last few weeks, but he was part of a big lawsuit that he won in favor of the right in the last year or two.
Was... Okay. Here, I got this pulled up here. He was involved in the John Benet Ramsey case. That's where I think his big career thing took off, and something called the Richard Jewell case. Wood's first libel and defamation client was Richard Jewell, the Secretary Guard falsely accused in the Centennial Olympic Park bombing in Atlanta, 1996. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so from Richard Jewell to John Benet Ramsey to the 2020 elections.
Yeah, and some of the Q claims I saw were pretty outrageous. So his Twitter handle is at LLin Wood. So 2 L's at the beginning. And I saw some people posting, see, he's allowed to release intelligence. And they pointed to a Q post that had intelligence, is the word intelligence. If you spell it intelligence, it's, you got LLin in there. So people are like, see, he's spewing intelligence. And so I don't know. That's the kind of stuff that you...
So is he on the Trump team? Or is he...
I don't think he is. I don't think he's officially on the Trump team.
I'm just doing a quick Wikipedia search. Come on, Wikipedia.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not, because he was complaining about not being able to connect to the president, or like warning the president about people surrounding him, that, closing in on him or whatever. They had I think somebody in Iran said that he's going to be dead Trump is going to be dead in a few days. I mean, it's getting pretty wild out there in the election realm. So anyway, whether and the thing that I've noticed with the Lin Wood stuff is that his claims, whether they're true or not, they really stir up the conservative right-wing folk, and they're really, really riled up. And the other side are really riled up at calling him crazy. And so it's just very strange. It feels like a lot of theater to me. And I actually think he might be talking about some realities there. Obviously there's blackmail that happens all the time in politics. Yeah. That's how it works.
This is the interesting thing with guys like this. And there's been a few, because, I'm looking at it here. There's no connection to actually being on any sort of Trump team. He does have a picture in the Oval Office with President Trump from March 2020. So they're obviously close. But it's been this current theme over the past year or two, or maybe 4, where lawyers can kind of become celebrities without being actually involved in any sort of case, or being involved in some sort of case. The one that comes to mind was the Stormy Daniels lawyer who represented Stormy Daniels during that whole debacle, and then thought he was going to run for president, and then ended up getting busted for blackmailing Nike. Do you remember that? I forget that guy's name. But this is interesting. I'm looking at stuff on Lin Wood. He's just kind of a guy who looks like he's had acquaintances with Trump and is just gaining notoriety by coming out as a lawyer and fighting hard for the 2020 elections, not officially involved in anything that I can see.
Yeah, and I just, fair warning out there. I know it sometimes, again, affirms your bias when you say stuff like this.
Who, me?
Not you. I'm talking about anybody in the audience who's...
I don't think I'm affirming anybody's bias.
No, not you. I'm saying Lin Wood does. Lin Wood affirms people's biases when it comes to the reality of the dark nature of, politics and blackmail. And he talks about in this tweet, he talks about one of the groups, so he says the blackmail scheme is conducted by a member of 10 of world's most well-known and elite intelligence agencies. One of those groups was hacked by a group known as Lizard Squad. The blackmail files of rape and murder were obtained by this group, and copy was provided to Isaac Cappy. Do you remember Isaac Cappy? He's a Hollywood guy.
No.
And he started talking about, anti-pedo stuff, and I think he died. He died in a car crash or something like that. He was young too. So again, man, it's really tough to say one way or another, but clearly there's at least some kind of intelligence war taking place. We've known that for years.
Yeah. I'm seeing some people mentioning that LLin Wood is working with Sidney Powell. I'm just going to do a quick
I think he was.
check.
Yeah, he was on it. I think he was working with Sidney Powell before. I don't know if they're still working together, but
yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that's that you got to keep an eye on that stuff too, and just stay vigilant and don't try to buy in fully into any side of the argument here. I think it's best to sort of watch what happens. And,
Sidney Powell has an IMDb page.
Uh-oh.
They're all
actors and actresses.
All actors.
In the stage of politics.
Well, let's keep moving then.
On the other side, you got LLin Wood on one side, you got Keith Oberman on the other side. And you want to hear a few minutes of him?
Sure.
This is Oberman versus Trump, and I'm not Trump. As we bury 2020, I would wish you a happy new year, but I am not convinced it will be sufficiently happier. CNN's report that 2 Republican congressmen believe at least 140 of their colleagues will rise next Wednesday against certifying Joe Biden's landslide in the Electoral College is ominous news for this nation. Make no mistake about these 140 Republican representatives. They are scum. It is not merely that they are voting to destroy the cornerstone of our democracy. It is not merely that they are undermining the validity of every election in this country, including their own, this past year and for years to come. It is not merely that they are voting to surrender representative government and make us into the slaves of mob rule by the outvoted minority. It is that they are doing all this cynically. They all know they will not prevent a Biden presidency. They all know there was no voter fraud. They all know Trump is a madman. And yet they are acting, gambling with our lives, simply to support Trump, and even more cynically, to not incur the wrath of the idiots, fascists, racists, and conspiracy theorists who support Trump.
There it is.
Given a choice between voting against democracy and risking being primaried by some QAnon psychotic who is high as a kite on opioids, they think voting against democracy is easier. This is also why Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri, will join these 140 authoritarian derelicts and force a debate on this. The premise is make the Republicans the party of Trump martyrdom, and on that basis conduct political war against President Biden and us. These men and women are without morals or souls or loyalty to this country. They serve...
Okay, hold on.
Jeez,
their arguments. This is where he.
No, it's
so
complete narrative crafting, washing nonsense.
You always lose an argument, in my opinion, even if you're looking at things objectively or trying to stay in the middle, when you invoke the moral argument as part of like why someone's wrong,
right?
And interestingly, from the LLin Wood side, it is a moral argument. Like, hey, these people do all these corrupt, horrible things against children and killing and all this stuff. But from this side of the argument or this side of the aisle, it's always based on just character. It's not like anything they did per se or or planning to do. It's always just like they're just morally bankrupt. They have no souls.
Is this guy on a network?
I don't think so. I think he started his own network. Keith Oberman, he used to be a anchor somewhere, and then he had to start his own thing in his basement.
I'm having to refresh my memory on all these mainstream people. Everybody's coming out. Keith Oberman.
Yeah, well, he's he described himself.
They are scum.
So that's all we need to know.
Well, you'll notice, his whole postulation is that they are being loyal to Trump with nothing to gain. And
right.
I mean, that right there, just on a logical level, is like, why would of course, he was a sports correspondent for CNN and for local radio stations in the 1980s. Okay, I'm gonna keep looking at this. but he's postulating that these people are just these people being the entire Republican Party, or at least a big part of it, have no morals, no reason to do what they're doing, just doing it just to support Trump with nothing to gain. So they're soulless, evil golems who are here to wreak havoc. It's like, bro. There's no logic in anything you're saying. If you're gonna try to, describe your enemy, you have to, or at least brainwash other people into hating the same people you hate. You need to have some sort of logical idea of why they would be doing what they're doing. He's got this purely, they're doing it for no reason with nothing to gain. They just love Trump so much they're just going to ruin everybody. They're going to kill us just because for no reason. And basically what he's doing is just laying into any liberal mind-washed person watching him he's just confirming bias for views. Yeah. He's just doing this for attention. There's no actual analysis or usable information in what he's saying.
Well, we got some usable out of it.
They are scum.
That's a good, we got a good ISO.
That'll be used frequently. Thank you, Keith Oberman, for that.
Chief, let's see here, 2011 and 12, Chief News Officer of the Current TV Network, 2016, 2017, hosted a web series for GQ titled The Closer with Keith Oberman, covering the presidential election, yada, yada, yada. 2018, returned to ESPN Sports Center program. Who the heck is this guy? 2020, he again resigned from ESPN. He's just a sports commentator, which makes all the sense in the world. He's sports commentating. He doesn't need to have any firm analysis. He just says something to get the crowd fired up. That's all he's doing here. He's sports commentating politics.
Yeah, and sports commentating being one of the worst when it comes to bias.
The whole job of sports commentating, is to just fill dead space. Yeah. Not to say that there isn't some good sports analysis to be done, but the whole reason sports commentators exist is to just have some talking while you watch the game.
Well, not even watching. Most of these guys, these anchor guys, do wrap ups and. They'll do commentary after the game or between halves or whatever.
But the thing is, live sports are dead, so he's got an unusable skill set that he's trying to transfer over into a new career is what this is. I think I nailed that analysis.
All right. Okay. Well, now that you nailed your own analysis.
I nailed it. And something else I'm going to nail, Gons, is the Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Booyah. Okay, folks, it's time for the Flippy update before we get into some other serious things. And if you're new to the show, Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and dancing with our spouses.
I thought it was flirting. They dance now?
It's flirting. Well, I'm just referring to the last episode, Gons.
Oh, okay.
And we use talking about Flippy to explore how the robots are taking over the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. Today, Gons, I'm starting off 2021 light, but also as we look into the future for if podcasting ever gets, if we ever get shut down, we need our new careers, and I think I found it. And everybody will be very happy to learn that I'm getting this from farminglife.com. Woo! The Lely discovery is keeping slats cleaner and cows healthier. So as you could guess, farminglife.com is sort of an industry website for farmers. But let's get into this. To assist the farm with routine tasks, George has adopted some of the robotic technology from Lely, or Lili, and uses the Juno feed pusher and 2 Discovery slat scrapers. The machines help to keep feed pushed up to cows all the time, increasing dry matter intake and keeps the slats, beds, and cows cleaner and healthier. Quote, the Discovery works well. The slats are a lot cleaner, which in turn leaves the beds cleaner, and ultimately the cows are cleaner. Commented George, quote, it's very easy to use and there's little maintenance with it. Plus, it only charges 60% of the time and works 40% of the time. It does the shed 9 times a day, which leaves everything a lot cleaner. Quote, I also noticed a lot less lameness as there is less manure in the shed, concluded George. A clean, dry floor in the barn has an influence on several cow health aspects. By the way, I gave you a video there. I don't know if you're playing it or not, but it'll explain everything. Yeah. It gives the animals a safe environment where they can express their natural behavior. It keeps cows' feet and hooves cleaner and healthier, which in the end ensures a better milk yield. It keeps cubicles cleaner and drier and is therefore easier for the farmer to take care of them. Clean cubicles have a positive influence on udder health and hygiene due to a lower infection risk. Research shows that the prevalence of hoof disease in a barn with an automatic scraper are 50% lower compared to a barn without an automatic scraper. So what we got here, Gons, is a whole suite of dairy cow robots from Lili or Lely. I wish I knew how to say it. Including, dry feed pushers, barn scrapers, and all sorts of other good things and guns. I think I can be a farmer now with all these robotic helpers. It seems like a lot of the more mucky work of dairy farming has opened up the industry to podcasters like me.
Steven Adams in the chat nailed it. An ad disguised as a Flippy update. Basil is a shill. We confirmed it.
Yes. Stop with the ad reading. He says, I think I would be I need to contact Lily, and offer my services for ad reads.
Yeah. Well, they're now, he doesn't have to scrape the barn.
Yeah. No, this is one time where Flippy is, I think, actually opening up job prospects for us podcasters, Gons.
You can clean a cow herd.
I don't have to clean. Now I can just.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can be 7 miles away.
Cows.
You just press some buttons.
Just hang out with my good friends Betsy and Cowie.
Okay.
While the robots do all the hard work.
I'm glad you found your passion.
Thank you.
Scoop and poop.
It is my new passion.
It's not the last time we're going to reference your fascination with toiletries today.
Okay. All right.
Just to give you a brief update. By the end of this timely interruption, you will be thoroughly updated.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
33 is the Illuminati dog whistle. They use the number 33 in headlines all the time to, I don't know, signal to each other.
That it's all part of the plan.
All part of the big plan here. And this first one is from post-gazette.com, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Coronavirus variant found in 33 countries.
Oh.
3 U.S. states report cases. So, of course, 33 countries.
333.
Report the variant, the scary variant. It's going to get us all. But that's not all because, according to thefool.com, this is Motley Fool. This is stock tips. Why Facebook stock jumped 33% in 2020. Do you know why?
No.
The Rona.
Oh.
Everybody's stuck at home.
Yeah.
So Facebook shares climbed 33% last year.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, classic. There was a few more with 666 in there, but I decided not to do it because, you can go to my Twitter. I often post these before we do the show.
Mm-hmm.
But there is one that I do, a couple news updates that I wanted to bring to today's show, and they involve UFOs.
Yeah.
And what happened to my UFO jingle? I had it ready, and now it's gone.
You don't know what you're looking at.
What's driving that thing? It's not a space alien.
Aliens. It's unidentified.
There it is. This first story is from the New York Post. COVID-19 bill started a 180-day countdown for UFO disclosures.
Yeah, this was exciting, huh?
Yeah, and you know what's interesting is, I guess I didn't pay attention, or maybe, what was our last episode, the 27th?
Yeah.
Okay, so this came out on the 29th, and one of my predictions for 2021 was like more alien stuff.
Totally.
And I was proven correct like 2 days later, before the new year even came. But
see,
here
what
we go.
did we write down exactly? Let's see. Gons, deep fake president. Oh, no, that was mine. Ancient aliens, visitation, fashionable smart clothes.
Yeah, it's pretty messy down there. I don't know if it's precise and who predicted what. But it says here that, my browser is having issues again. No. Scroll up. I'm trying to scroll up and the browser's scrolling down.
You want me to read it?
No, caught up. President Trump's signature Sunday on the $2.3 trillion COVID-19 relief and government funding bill started a 180-day countdown for the Pentagon and spy agencies to say what they know about UFOs. The provision received very little attention, in part because it wasn't included in the text of the 5,593-page legislation, but as a, quote, committee comment attached to the Annual Intelligence Authorization Act, which was rolled into the massive bill. And it goes on with some quotes and stuff here. That's the basic gist of the story. The report must address, quote, observed airborne objects that have not been identified and should include a, quote, detailed analysis of unidentified phenomena data collected by A, geospatial intelligence, B, signals intelligence, C, human intelligence, and D, measurement and signals intelligence, the committee said. The report must also contain, quote, a detailed analysis of data of the FBI, which was derived from investigations of intrusions of unidentified aerial phenomena data over restricted United States airspace, and an assessment of whether this unidentified aerial phenomenon activity may be attributed to one or more foreign adversaries. And that's what's really interesting to me. Foreign adversaries, are they going to redefine what that means to not just other nations, but perhaps other worlds?
Other dimensions.
And this is Space Force. The Space Force is the reason. I think that's why they're doing this.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, because, I read a different article from heavy.com, not the Post like you have here, and it mentioned specifically that the disclosure was to Congress, not to the public.
Oh, interesting.
That it was not being disclosed to the general public. It was being disclosed to Congress specifically. So it's almost like Congress was tired of not having the full story themselves, which is interesting because, on one hand, if, just certain intelligence agencies or arms of the military have info on UFOs, whatever that might be, whether they're extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional, or just or terrestrial, but of an unknown origin. Congress is the one making a lot of decisions, financial decisions, policy decisions, and those are the decisions that can't or should not be left to, or should not be left strictly to intelligence agencies or branches of the military. So says Congress. So they're kind of wanting to get in on the info, allegedly, to make better policy decisions. But it's interesting that they're so eager or worried about making policy decisions based on not knowing about UFOs. So whether it's disclosure to Congress or disclosure to whoever, disclosure is disclosure, baby.
Yeah, and if you want to go back into some history, recent history, if you all recall, I'll remind everybody that John Podesta, the man at the center of the Pizzagate conspiracies, he had mentioned, because he was the advisor to Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2016, and I think he served with Obama, and he came out and said, my biggest regret, and this was like 4 or 5 years ago, my biggest regret during my time in the White House was not releasing more information about UFOs to the public. So
Right.
there does seem to be the disclosure of the UFO reality seems to be tied into all kinds of crazy conspiracy rabbit trails, so to speak. And I'm interested to see what obviously, I think the overall, the bigger picture agenda here is more of a deceptive nature to the entire world, and the stuff, the thesis that we've talked about of alien disclosure, aliens are here, unite the world with one religion, whatever it is. That's sort of the bigger picture, but it's interesting to watch the incremental opening of the curtains to this entire psyop, basically.
And when you think about it, as far as the world, whatever the plan is, whatever the conglomerate of world events is working towards, obviously a global pandemic is a big step towards whatever the final end game is, whether it's the Great Reset or, New World Order, global government, et cetera, et cetera. Really, the only next step you can take is aliens. Like, what else besides sort of a full-on kinetic war, which probably won't happen just because we've basically been in perpetual war since the last kinetic war, which was World War II. Once nuclear weapons arrived, they're like, oh, we can't do regular war anymore, so we have to find other disasters. And that's where you get, things like pandemics having to be the next catalyst for the next steps in the plan, as some would describe it. And aliens seems like the next, the only next thing to compare to the global pandemic.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've talked about the New World Order for years, and most people couldn't accept that there could be a totalitarian takeover of the entire world by one government type of entity. And here we are. That's happening.
I will just mention, because the chat needs reminding sometimes, we're just using the colloquial term aliens. We're aware of the fallen angels and the Nephilim. We're aware of all that. We're just using UFOs and aliens as the colloquial term for what we're all aware of.
Oh, I thought we were talking about people from other countries in the United States illegally.
Cons. You can't do that.
I know.
All right, let's keep moving.
Legally. Okay, so you mentioned earlier, was there anything else on New Year's with weird monuments and stuff? This goes in line with the UFO stuff around New Year's. And this is from Oahu, Hawaii. This is HawaiiNewsNow.com. And the headline, FAA notified after large blue UFO seen above Oahu appeared to drop into the ocean. And I'll play about a minute or so of this report here.
Something is in the sky. What is that?
And it's not just fireworks lighting up the sky in West Oahu. Perplexed residents on the Leeward Coast are searching for answers after a lit-up, unidentified flying object reportedly plunged into the ocean near Ulehava Beach Park. Though there are multiple videos of what appears to be a glowing oblong mass both in the sky and in the water, Honolulu police notified aviation officials about the bizarre sighting. But as our Allison Blair reports, it remains a mystery.
Officials from the Federal Aviation Administration say there were no aircraft incidents or accidents in this area Tuesday night, but multiple witnesses report seeing a large blue object fall out of the sky and into the ocean.
Something is in the sky. What is that?
This video was taken by Misitina Sape at 8:26 Tuesday night near Haleakala Avenue in Nanakuli. Not long after, a woman named Mariah spotted the same thing passing over Princess Kahanu Estates.
I look up, and then I was like, oh, started calling my husband then because we was all in the garage. I was like, hey, look up there. See what I see. They all said, yeah.
The 38-year-old says she's never really been a believer in UFOs, but the bright blue object had them so intrigued, they jumped in the car and started following it.
I don't know what it was. This one was going so fast.
The journey ended less than 3 miles from where it began, on Farrington Highway in front of the Board of Water Supply building, after the object appeared to drop into the ocean.
Oh, the land in the water, whatever it is.
She described it as being larger than a telephone pole and says she never heard it make any sound.
Ooh, I think somebody crashed a drone.
Do you think it was a drone that was malfunctioning? And
I don't know. It looks like, what is it? It just looks like a stick, a blue stick.
Oh, sorry. Audio's still on. Yeah, it kind of looks like a twirled, like a blue twirl kind of deal. Maybe like an LED strand of light or something.
That's what I'm
stuck
thinking.
On a balloon.
Like a drone that has an LED strand of lights hanging from it.
Yeah. Well,
because it kind of moves that way. When it moves in one direction, it kind of sways in the opposite direction, you know?
Yeah. Well, kind of hard to tell from the video footage there, but yep, people are seeing things, and I'm sure we're going to see more. And this is part of the conversation too, with all this disclosure talk, is news agencies. I mean, news agencies have always reported on stuff like this, but I'm curious to see what kind of reporting will happen on the mainstream media when more of this happens in terms of, you know, how they shape or how they shade the discussion. If it's all fake news, then what's the agenda for reporting on it, if not for deception? So something to keep in mind. But moving right along here, you got anything else to say about the blue oblong shape?
No, but Knowledge 2021 says, like a blue beam, dare I?
That is very true. What if that was the big
blue
beam conspiracy?
The
there it is.
Culmination of Project Blue Beam.
All that
a drone with some LED lights hanging off of it.
Oh, big fail, NSA, CIA. Let's release the Kraken, release the Project Blue Beam.
We're finally ready for Project Blue Beam.
Oh no, it's gonna fall in the ocean. Oh man, that's good. I like that.
Project
good job.
Blue Beam down.
Blue Beam
Somebody
down.
get on a ski-doo and go get it.
Okay, so there you go. Yeah, big womp womp from Project Blue Beam. Okay, so this next report is for people that believe in space.
Oh.
Yeah. And the headline here is from weather.com. Japan aiming to launch wooden satellites by 2023 to reduce space junk.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
A team of scientists from Japan is working towards developing the world's first wood-based space satellite. The initiative, undertaken by Japan's Sumitomo Forestry Company and Kyoto University, aims to combat the growing problem of space debris. So there you go. We have wooden satellites.
Oh, that's very Japanese.
It's super Japanese, and I don't understand how, if it's gonna blow up or whatever in space, isn't it still there? It's just a different kind of space junk.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe they know they can, if they ever need to take it out, they can just hit it with a flamethrower or something.
Or the
would burn up faster if it got in low orbit.
That's what I'm saying. Will it dissolve or maybe that's the whole idea.
Well, it sounds like that's what they want to do is make it more destructible.
Right. Good job.
Okay.
Good job, my fellow people in Japan there.
Well, I got a little update for you here.
You do, and
I do.
You do.
And it's about bidets, man.
Oh, I had it ready, and here it is.
Oh no.
It's a bidet. Don't get me started.
This was great. I love this. You know, looking into all the stuff with the stimulus bill, this popped up, which is really waking up a lot of people to government waste. CNSnews.com, federal grant. Listen up, federal granters. $6.9 million to develop smart toilet that identifies your anal print. The panopticon continues to take over. In his latest, look, people, I'm just reading the news here, okay? Don't get mad at me. In his latest report on federal government waste, a project he completes every year, Senator Rand Paul highlights $54.7 billion in government spending that he deems wasteful. Somebody's got to do it. Among the
Wasteful,
items
all
noted,
right.
Full of waste. Among the items noted this year is the creation of a $6.9 million smart toilet, which operates with 3 cameras, one of which can identify a user's anal print. As explained in the Festivus Report 2020, researchers at Stanford University used $6,973,057 in funds granted through the National Cancer Institute, which is part of the National Institutes of Health, to create a so-called smart toilet. The purpose of the toilet is to develop, quote, easily deployable hardware and software for the long-term analysis of a user's excreta through data collection and models of human health, states the researchers in an abstract. Quote, each user of the toilet is identified through their fingerprint and the distinctive feature of their onoderm. That's you can guess what that is. And the data are securely stored and analyzed in an encrypted cloud server, states the researchers.
No, I don't want that. I don't want that in the cloud.
Why do we have to store that on the cloud? Quote, the toilet operates with artificial intelligence.
Oh, no.
Skynet is coming to the bathroom. Includes 3 cameras, including 1 video camera, and features a urinalysis strip, according to the Festivus report. Quote, the toilet's AI collects the health data and then stores it in a digital cloud system.
Oh, gosh.
For it. Why are you putting it on the cloud? For it to work, the user would sit on the toilet, no kidding, and the hardware's 3 cameras would use biometric identifiers to securely associate the data collected with the user's identity, such as fingerprinting and a distinctive method of using anal creases. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to stop.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, we got it. Okay. You get the point. But you might think that I'm a nasty boy for bringing it up, but just got to say, this is your tax dollars at work, folks. And you can thank Senator Rand Paul for bringing this to the light.
Basil?
Did you ever
Yes.
have the feeling that you were being watched?
Oh, gosh. That jingle has all new meaning after this.
You know, we have been talking about the loss of privacy with technology and the surveillance state coming after us. I don't know what other thing you can lose privacy. I mean, this is like the last.
That's exactly what this is. That it was the scary part about this is they're like, we finally have surveillance of everything. We have completed the panopticon. And there's one guy like in the corner. Well, not everything.
I'm just picturing the day when the robots are in court and you're in court with them. And you know they're accusing you of something,
oh my gosh.
And they're like, "I wasn't there, Judge AI robot." And they're like, "We disagree. We have proof." And
we have the
on the screen,
the cloud. Is this or is this not yours?
We have analyzed the situation.
Oh, good one.
Okay.
Yeah, but seriously, this is complete madness. Your tax dollars at work, and just one hilarious example of the things, being. I believe this was in the stimulus bill. Yeah. I could be wrong. I didn't make it far enough in this article to get it, but it's just sort of the example of what your tax dollars are being spent on.
Is there a company that has smart bidets yet?
Well, it depends on what you mean by smart. Not this smart.
Okay. Just thinking exit strategy, might as well go down with the ship. And
well, apparently it only takes $7 million to create this thing. So, the cloud interface is spooky because all cloud interfaces are, cloud data storage is susceptible to security risks, and I don't know who would want that information, but I'm sure somebody out there would be able to monetize it somehow.
Man, in the future, in like a few years, we're just not going to be able to go to the restroom in public ever. No, you go to a restaurant or movie theater or something. I gotta go. Oh, I'm just gonna hold it till I get home.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna give up my data
you see
that
a little
easily.
sign outside. They'll have to put a user license agreement on the outside of the stall.
Yeah.
By entering this stall, you agree for data collection.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's enough of that.
Moving on.
We talked about some of the politicians that were found dead by the Ronas in the last few weeks, but that's not all.
It will kill.
This is according to the New York Post. UN, that's the United Nations, diplomat found dead in New York City apartment in apparent suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the building, the photo right at the top of this article, building number 333.
It's such an interesting. Why would they make that the headline photo? I mean, it is messaging. There's no other option. Why not put a picture of the guy? Why not put a picture of anything? You just put the picture of the address of the building.
And not only that, 333 East 45th Street in Manhattan, where a diplomat was found dead. 45th President Trump. Something there, maybe.
Something.
It says here the United Nations diplomat was found dead in her Manhattan apartment on New Year's Eve in an apparent suicide, police sources said. The 38-year-old woman was found face down with a belt around her neck in the bedroom of her East 45th Street apartment shortly after noon.
Wait, say that again? Where was she? She was on the floor?
The 38-year-old woman was found face down with a belt around her neck in the bedroom of her East 45th Street apartment shortly after noon, the source said.
I don't buy it.
I don't. Yeah. Anytime a belt and choking.
If you're gonna do it that way, you're gonna be hanging somewhere. You gotta have some sort of elevated thing. I don't know. Weird.
Cops also found prescription antidepressant medications in 2 bottles of melatonin, one empty and the other nearly empty. Always gotta stage it with.
I have a nearly empty bottle of melatonin.
Oh, that's how you roll.
So, hey, man, you got to sleep.
Yeah. Quote, she lived here for 2 years. Hernan Avila, a handyman at the building, told the Post on Friday, everybody feels bad. She was a very nice person, very nice person. The diplomat lived by herself on the 4th floor apartment, said Avila. He described her as a quiet person who would occasionally be seen outside smoking. Quote, yesterday doctors came upstairs, the ambulance, he said. The guy came, the diplomat, I don't know, ambassador or something. I like this guy's quote. The guy came, the diplomat, I don't know, ambassador or something. He asked for her, Avila said. Doorman call and no answer, something happened. Officials at the apartment mission to the UN where the woman worked did not immediately respond to a request for comment.
Yeah, we gotta figure out what she was involved with. She was on to something.
I just recommend nobody get into government at this point.
Yeah.
No, any kind of institutional anything.
Unless you're going to do what you're told.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. You're going to either do what you're told or you're going to be caught with
you're
belt
going to need
around
some
your
melatonin.
neck.
Yeah. No, that's very strange. I don't know. I would need to know more about this woman to I don't know, to speculate more.
Yeah, hard to tell. But this is not hard to tell. This was tweeted out by Matt Walsh. Dems open Congress with a prayer that ends Amen and Awomen.
We ask it in the name of the monotheistic God, Brahma, and God known by many names, by many different faiths. Amen and a woman.
Oh, please. Okay. Wow. This is a very inclusive prayer. I had not heard the first half of that.
It's
he's just trying to please everybody.
It's just so ridiculous. Are we going to do this for every word that has the?
Well, it was obviously a joke. Is the thing he's trying to be cheeky?
Is he? Is he? Is he really?
Well, I think he is, but I don't think he realized. I mean, it's not funny.
You think he was trying to be funny? I don't know, man.
I think it's like a silly thing, like I'm not saying it's funny in a funny way. He's like, a monotheistic God, the Brahmin, the gods known by many names, and Amen, and a woman, and a they, and who else can I include here?
Okay. All right. Maybe. Or he's just ridiculous when you start going down that hyper leftist trail.
Yeah. Well, I think it was both. That's what I mean. I'm not saying funny like mocking it. I mean funny like I don't think he thinks a woman is a real thing. I think he's saying it to virtue signal his inclusivity.
Yeah, we'll use that as an ISO if we need to as well.
A man and a woman.
Oh yeah, we'll need to.
Yeah. Next up, real quick here. This could be a troll job, a legit troll job. And this was tweeted out by Dr. Russell McGregor. Greta Thunberg has put out Instagram and Twitter posts over the past 24 hours suggesting she is broke free from her handlers.
Yeah.
Are her handlers trolling, or might she have really broken free? And the screenshot here shows Greta with a thumbs up with a Flat Mars Society shirt. And the comment she made is somebody said, "Climate change is a myth." And then Greta responded, "Yes, truth shall set you free." And
yeah, this was interesting. This popped up on my Twitter feed, and I had to take a second look. It was a double take for sure. I also think that she's trolling.
Okay, so the other part of it is her tweet. "Thank you so much for all the well wishes on my 18th birthday. Tonight you will find me down at the local pub exposing all the dark secrets behind the climate and school strike conspiracy and my evil handlers who can no longer control me. I am free at last." And that's her thumbs up Flat Mars Society t-shirt.
Yeah. The Flat Mars Society really, I think, drives home the trolling point, Yeah, I don't think she's. I mean, we'll find out. Who knows? Who knows? But I think she's being very cheeky here as well.
Okay. Or they're using Greta to mind control all the other people on the other side of the aisle.
How dare you?
Yeah. So if
I'm free.
If you can flip that around, I mean, can you imagine all these conservatives jumping on the Greta bandwagon, and the "how dare you," all that stuff is pointed not towards, the anti-climate denier people or climate change denier people, but rather the elite themselves. It's a good psyop.
Yeah, it certainly is confusing.
Anyway, that's that happened, and
we'll
keep an eye on Greta.
Okay. Well, before we get into our pandemic special here, I had one last thing to mention. I had a hacker buddy of mine send this to me asking if I knew anybody who was freaking out about this. And that is on the poll section on Reddit, which is the politics section of Reddit. I don't know if it's a subreddit. I don't really understand Reddit, but I do know when I see a /poll, it's the politics section of Reddit. Not Reddit. I'm sorry. 4chan. This was 4chan.
Oh, it's 4chan?
Yes.
You
4chan,
said Reddit to me too.
I know.
Okay.
I'm totally wrong. And I meant to send you a screenshot of this that he sent me. But this was on 4chan, the /poll. And the 3 billionth post on 4chan politics section was simply the phrase "Christ is King," and then it had sort of an image of a painting of Christ. And I didn't really understand this at first, but I guess there's like a whole community of people who try to get, relevant numbers on the number of posts. I guess 4chan numbers every single post, and he was freaking out saying, to be able to get the 3 billionth post, 3 billion even, has some like astronomically crazy small chance of being able to get it. And he was saying that there's some legit people thinking that it might have been the real Jesus posting on 4chan. And
Whoa.
I said, I don't think so, buddy. I don't think that's what it was.
That's how Jesus is going to reach out to the lost. The
right.
3 billionth post on 4chan. That's really going to turn the tide.
Right. And he's not a Christian guy that I know of. So I think he was checking in with me to see if this was a thing, if this was foretold in scriptures, and not that I know of, but apparently this is a big deal.
Foretold in the scriptures. All right. That's an interesting, to come to you with that.
Yeah, and I kind of was talking to him like, dude, I mean, I guess this is kind of crazy. Could somebody have done this with a bot, or was this can't be that hard to do? And I didn't quite understand his explanation. He sent me a post of somebody who did the calculus on how difficult it would have been for somebody to get the 3 billionth post. And I didn't understand any of it. But I thought I'd mention it here just in case any listeners or chatters had heard of this and had anything to add. So far, I see nothing being added to this. But
well, maybe
you go. This is a little update.
Maybe there was some kind of spiritual situation there,
Well, that's what he was thinking, 3 billion, 3.
Yeah.
Jesus. I don't know. So, okay, that's it. That's all the updates. We have a whole show of updates today.
Yep.
What
a
are
lot
we?
Of stuff going on.
We're an hour and a half in, or an hour in. Okay, perfect.
Here we go.
A pandemic special.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Okay, so let's get into some of the pandemic special here. We'll start with this. This is nydailynews.com. Last man to share jail cell with Jeffrey Epstein died last month of COVID. This came out on the 28th, so the day after our last show. So we'll just zoom through and see if it raises any eyebrows. The last man to share a cell with Jeffrey Epstein died last month in a Bronx apartment after catching coronavirus at a jail for cooperating witnesses. Efren Stone Reyes, 51, was found dead in bed on November 27th at his mother's apartment. The NYPD confirmed. In August 2019, he shared a cell with Epstein, only to be transferred to a privately run Queens detention facility the day before the accused sex trafficker hanged himself, according to his family and Bureau of Prison Records. Reyes' niece, Angelique Lopez, said Epstein was paired with her uncle because he had a bad leg and was mild-mannered. They took him to my uncle because he had a broken leg. He was disabled. My uncle kept to himself. He was laid back, Lopez, 27, said. Quote, Epstein liked to read a lot and he kept to himself. He wasn't a problem starter or too loud, my uncle said. He was a good cellmate. Reyes, who pleaded guilty to a narcotics conspiracy involving crack and heroin at Bronx housing projects, saw firsthand that Epstein was trapped between inmates and cruel correction officers. Oh, cruel correction officers, according to Lopez. Quote, they knew how much money he had. They said, let's push him around and extort him for money. They thought they could get his money. Quote, staff were treating him like crap. They were making him sleep on the floor. They wouldn't let him sleep on a cot. The FBI questioned Reyes about Epstein after the suicide discovered by correctional officers early on August 10th, 2019. Quote, he was a little worried that if he told on the security workers at MCC, they would somehow lash out at him. He was worried if they told them what they did to Epstein, he was worried it would follow him and affect him negatively. They were asking how Epstein was when he was in his cell, if he seemed suicidal. They were asking if he had any indication that he would do that. My uncle cooperated. The Justice Department's Inspector General is investigating the circumstances surrounding Epstein's suicide. No kidding. Reyes caught COVID-19 at the Queens private jail, commonly known by the name of its operator, GEO. The news previously reported that the jail, which recently held rapper-turned cooperator Tekashi 6ix9ine, was overrun with coronavirus early in the pandemic. Yada, yada, yada. So there you go. No surprise.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about his haircut. What's going on with his haircut? Is that just like a prison haircut he's
Yeah,
got
I
going
think
on?
that's part of the punishment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's
I
kind
think
of a bowl cut.
That's they use that sentencing to bad haircuts for, specifically heinous drug dealers.
Yeah, somebody in the chat was mentioning that he didn't realize that Mike from Red Letter Media was in prison with Epstein.
Oh, burn.
Have you seen Mike Stoklasa?
I've seen pictures, yeah.
Close. Kind of resembles him a little bit.
I get it. Yeah. So there you go. I don't know. Did he know something? Did he not? I don't see. It's weird in this pandemic situation when it's just like anybody can die of it at any moment. So it's kind of like the
very convenient.
The new suicided. No longer do people have to be suicided. They can just catch COVID-19.
Yeah, it's great. I'm sure they're excited about it. They're like, oh, yes, wonderful.
Finally.
Just COVID-19 everything.
I wanted to real quick mention, because it's kind of along the same lines of sort of weird conspiracy thinking. On the 27th of December, we talked about the Nashville explosion, and it was only after the show. I made a big deal talking about, I think it's just so weird that they played they tried to scare people away over the loudspeaker from the RV, told people to evacuate, get away, obviously didn't want any civilian casualties. And then it was only after the show it dawned on me, this is a good way to have to avoid using crisis actors in some sort of false flag event. So I just wanted to put that out there. They're on to the crisis actor thing. We got to not kill anybody.
Right. Yes. They'll just kill real people that may know stuff. But yeah, that's
No, they don't kill anybody. Gons is COVID.
Oh, sorry. COVID is the mass murdering invisible enemy.
Yes, COVID will take out any inconvenient people with information that shouldn't get out.
Oh, okay. Well, let's keep an eye on that invisible enemy.
All right, let's keep going. Let's keep zooming here. More pandemic special. This is coming from the New York Post.
Yeah. This is. Let me just mention one of your predictions, right, about the passport, and we realized we got to come up with better predictions for 2021. Because we were kind of just reading, or not reading, but coming up with headlines that are basically already happening. So,
yeah, and I don't know. This is quick. We just want to do this quick because that wasn't a very good prediction. We basically,
it wasn't.
The problem with us, Gons, is our minds at this point are just a conglomeration of a zillion data points from doing 3 shows a week, reading hundreds of articles. So we're kind of our own sort of supercomputer, Gons. So some of our predictions are coming true quickly, and we've reported on this in the past, so we don't need to go into it. But another post saying here, you may need a COVID-19 passport to travel or gather in 2021. And the big one is the gather part of it. But just to zoom through, when it comes to traveling in 2021, you might have to remember to bring 2 passports. Several companies are developing the passport, yada, yada. I don't know. That's it. I don't think there's anything extra in this. We've talked about the passport thing many times.
Yeah, and masslive.com also had the same story here, basically. Headline, a vaccine passport for COVID could be needed if you want to travel in 2021. And yeah, no surprises there. Do you think they're really going to follow through with this? And what if you don't have, any kind of documentation that you were either vaccinated or that you don't have the Rona? You're just going to not be able to get on
I want
to
bring some other stuff to the table next show because I've seen some inklings of some legal battles piling up regarding this passport thing. And I think that would be a more interesting angle to take on this COVID passport thing.
Good.
So let's just continue it that way.
Okay. All right. We'll put it off to the side. But hey, it might not just be C-19. Because Gizmodo.com reported, you think COVID-19 is bad? ? What's worse? Experts with the World Health Organization issued a somber warning on Monday. That was last Monday. The next pandemic to strike humanity could be even more devastating than COVID-19 has been, especially if we don't learn our lessons this time.
Oh.
Where's my
Learn your
Fauci?
lesson.
Now is the time to do what you're told.
The warning came from Mike Ryan, executive director of the WHO's Health Emergencies Program. During a press briefing yesterday, the last to be held by the WHO this year, Ryan noted that while the COVID-19 pandemic has certainly been very severe, it wasn't, quote, necessarily the big one that experts have been dreading. Rather, it should be seen more as a wake-up call. Quote, the planet is fragile. We live in an increasingly complex global society, Ryan said. These threats will continue. Currently, the pandemic is thought to have claimed at least 1.7 million lives worldwide. Thought to have claimed by people
Wow,
reporting.
that's a very interesting catch.
Yeah, and many more have been hospitalized.
Currently, the pandemic is thought to have claimed at least 1.7 million lives.
And if you're going to dig into that phrase, go back to the last episode where we ranted, or at least I did, ranted on how deaths were counted.
Right.
According to the CDC, the WHO, and the NIH and other institutions. But the official deaths attributed to COVID-19 are clearly an underestimate. Oh. Clearly.
Okay.
On Monday, Russia's Deputy Prime Minister Tatiana Golikova admitted that the country has experienced around 186,000 excess deaths linked to the virus, more than 3 times Russia's official death toll. The pandemic, it almost makes me think like, you know, if you actually use the methods that the United States used to inflate the numbers, then we would have 3 times the number of deaths reported in Russia.
Yeah, that's crazy. Hold on. Russia's Deputy Prime Minister Tatiana Golikova admitted that the country has experienced around 186,000 excess deaths linked to the virus, more than 3 times Russia's official death toll.
Yeah. So
is that saying that Russia's official death toll is
from COVID is 1/3 what it really is? But I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm saying if they
my
use
brain glitched there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying if they used and I'm not saying that Russia has it accurate. I'm saying if they actually use the United States methodology, then maybe, yeah, you're right. Tatiana is right. The pandemic has also disrupted nearly every aspect of society and worsened existing public health crises like antibiotic resistance. Yet things could be a lot worse.
What?
It's going to get worse, Basil.
Antibiotics.
Oh yeah, I know.
What? Okay.
I think it's just people inside. You know, I don't know. That's because the fatality rate of COVID-19 is relatively low. It's really low. What? At least compared to certain other much feared diseases. The chances of dying from COVID are highly dependent on factors like age and pre-existing health. But overall, likely somewhere between 0.5% and 1% of people who contract the disease are thought to die from it. This still makes COVID-19 much deadlier than common illnesses like the flu, especially when you count all the flu as COVID-19 deaths. And the 2020's pandemic's final death toll will overshadow any pandemic since the 1918 flu, which killed 50 million people worldwide. HIV, sometimes considered a pandemic, has killed more people, but over a much longer period of time. 50 million people from the 1918 flu. They're saying it's going to surpass it, and we're at what, 2 million?
Yeah, but people didn't even washing your hands was barely a thing back then.
Yeah, there's a lot less people back then too.
It's so crazy to try to compare it to the 1918 flu pandemic, the Spanish flu pandemic. There was a war going on. There were soldiers getting shipped hither and yon. Nobody washed their hands. It was a totally different world. And yes, there was far less people, which I don't know if that helps or hurts the point. But I'm tired of this whole 1918 flu comparison. Yeah.
It would take much for the next pandemic germ to be more destructive than COVID-19, though. The next pandemic could be 10 times deadlier and still only have a fatality rate in the single digits while remaining as easily transmissible. Pandemics are inevitable, but we're not helpless against them. The record-setting development of effective COVID-19 vaccines in less than a year shows that much, the record-setting development of effective COVID-19 vaccines in less than a year shows that much at least. Okay? At the same time, the delayed and often inadequate response to contain the pandemic by many countries this year also shows that there's much room for improvement. Quote, if there's one thing we need to take from this pandemic with all the tragedy and loss is we need to get our act together. We need to get ready for something that may be even more severe.
Please, come on. This is just the pinnacle of fear mongering. Like, oh, COVID-19, the thing that's triggered tyrannical authoritarianism across the world and kept people in their houses and gripped with fear for an entire year. You ain't seen nothing yet. This seems like more of a threat than a warning.
State-sponsored propaganda machinery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, yeah, just wait for the next thing. And I do feel like that's a real threat from the elite. You know, it's like they rolled this thing out this last year. Everything shut down. The overreaction was palpable. But based on the reality of the science behind a lot of the, the disease and all that, not that it didn't kill people, it certainly affected people that had, preconditions and older folks. But to come out and say like, oh, it's going to be way worse next time.
Well, Chris D makes a good point in the YouTube chat. It reminds us of when Bill Gates had his sinister moment saying,
which one?
Round two will get people's attention.
He said that.
Remember that?
I missed that one.
We'll have to clip it. Yeah. It sounded like a threat more than a warning. He's like, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, these people.
No, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah. Okay. And then real quick, one more quick story here before we go into a break. This is zerohedge.com, and this affirms a lot of what we've been reporting here. The Great 2020 Seasonal Flu Influenza Disappearing Act.
Ooh.
According to the WHO, can't close this ad here, weird. According to the WHO World Health Organization, seasonal flu influenza practically disappeared this year in the Southern Hemisphere. Quote, in tropical South America, there were no influenza detections. Globally, influenza actively remained at lower levels than expected for this time of year. Lower means flu practically didn't show up this year like always before. And there's a map of the United States 2019 flu as of December 21st, 2019, and it shows very high high amounts of flu, all across the country. Source CDC, and then here's 2020 minimal all across the states, no flu.
Wow,
which we reported how the CDC was not going to count the flu this year, so that could have something to do with it.
Yeah, they just stopped counting because nothing was going on.
Yeah. Where have all the flu outbreaks gone? I don't know. Was there supposed to be something there? I don't know. Separately, the WHO claimed that various hygiene, including mask wearing and physical distancing measures, very likely played a role in reducing influenza virus transmission. Mask wearing is ineffective and potentially harmful to health. Masks are porous. They have to be, otherwise wearers would suffocate. Aerosol spores are minuscule, able to penetrate all masks, blah, 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 more mask stuff. And just goes into the CDC numbers and how this year's flu was much lower. And, part of it, I think, everyone was locked down and, people didn't go outside. So, of course, there was less flu. But at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, so then why are people still getting the COVID? If we were able to lock down and get rid of the flu, how come everyone still got COVID? And we're freaking out over that. So
we've talked about this before. It's nonsense.
But there you go. I mean, Zero Hedge coming out with the article and all the references there.
Good job, Zero Hedge.
Yep. So nice work, Tyler Durden, or whoever you are.
Durden. Is that the guy from?
That's a Fight Club.
The punching movie.
The punching movie. The punching himself, but he thought it was someone else movie.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's take a break, and we got some WACCINE stuff afterwards, and I got a whole rant prepared for.
Watch out, folks.
Some fetal cell stuff in the vaccine. So going off the deep end.
Let's do it. Let's take a quick break.
Let's do it.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Sounded a little quiet over on my side here. Okay, folks, we're going to take a quick break, but do not go anywhere. We're going to thank some producers. We're going to show you some cool art, do some other fun things real quick, and then we're going to get into the WACCINE update. So you're not going to want to go anywhere. We be talking about nanoparticles and reverse engineering and Swiss people. Yeah, so don't go anywhere. But before that, we want to take a second and tell you a little bit about the value for value model and thank some of our producers, because these are the people that make the show happen, and they deserve your love and respect. So let's see here. Wow, it's been a while since we've done this. Do I do anything before I do the thing?
Yeah, you go on a little rant about what the value for value model is.
I do love the little rant part.
Just don't go too crazy, you know.
Just to remind everybody, it is the new year, and just hear me out for a second, folks. Here's the thing. We're on the value for value model, which is exactly what it sounds like. You might notice we don't do any advertisements except for the Lily cow milking machine, which we'll give you an affiliate code for our dairy cow machines. No, but you'll notice we don't do any advertising, and that's not because we can't do it. We've said it in the past, and I'm just going to go over it because some people are new to the show. We've had plenty of offers for advertising on the show, and our imaginary accountants are not very happy that we don't do that, because that's grown into a viable option for podcasts and other online media to advertise. But here's the problem, folks. The way we see it, advertising, well, it's not even the way we see it. By the admission of the inventor of advertising, advertising is brainwashing. It's tricking you. It's crafting your narrative, creating your worldview in order to trick you into thinking you need to spend money on stuff that you don't need to spend money on. But not only, one good example of that is think of Santa Claus. What does Santa Claus look like in your head? Yeah, jolly guy with a red suit and a red hat. That was invented by Coca-Cola. And it was an advertising agency of Coca-Cola that created the image of Santa Claus that you think of, and not necessarily whatever traditions that crazy guy came out of. And this is happening all the time with advertising. It's narrative crafting, it's worldview building, and it's brainwashing. And simply participating in that practice goes against everything we believe in. So we decided no advertising for us, no matter what. And it's not a good business model. But in fact, we've since activating the value for value model, we've been very pleased with the response, and not just the financial support, although that is a big part of it. The response from people sort of waking up to the fact that you don't have to require advertising on things. We're so used to getting entertainment and education and news for free nowadays, thinking that, everything's free. This is free. I don't have to pay $1 for it. When in fact you are paying with your own mind. You're paying with the brain space, and you're giving up agency in your own view of the world just to have some free content. And people are waking up to the fact that that is what is going on. So we are on the value for value model, which invites you, dear listener, to not just be a listener, but become a producer of the show, to take some responsibility, to no longer be in a place where you have to complain about ads or complain about the media and how it's crafting false worldviews. But to take part and take responsibility in the creation of this piece of media and others by rebelling against the system of advertising that has, frankly, destroyed a lot of the things we love. When it comes to Facebook, Big Brother, big data, data harvesting, the panopticon, you know what runs all that? What keeps that engine running? It's all advertising. Without advertising, there would be no need to collect all your data and have all your privacy be taken for granted. So with that being said, we would like to thank some of the people who have become producers of the show, who have put their fist up in rebellion against the system and thankfully supported this show. You can do that, first of all, by going to patreon.com/CCNT. That's patreon.com/CCNT. That's one way to do it. We'll tell you about some more here in a second, but I do want to thank some new producers. Gons, are you ready?
Ready to go. You only ranted for 4.5 minutes.
That was not bad, actually. So, first of all, I want to thank new producer Ted W.
Thank you, Ted
Thank
W.
you very much, Ted. Next, we have producer Laura C. Thank you very much, Laura C. And then we have producer Melissa A.
Thank you, producer Melissa.
Thank you. And then we have one more. This is a returning producer, and that is producer Patreon account of the year.
All right.
Welcome back. Thank you very much. Getting back on board. There you go. So that's patreon.com/CCNT. There's some bonus material over there, and it just kind of makes it easy. Now, if you don't like Patreon, that's okay. A lot of people don't like Patreon. We totally support you. There's a much more direct way to become a producer of the show, and that's by going to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. canarycryradio.com/support has some PayPal methods. You can come in as a monthly supporter, a monthly producer, and thank you to all of our monthly producers for helping lay down a foundation of support for the show. Or if commitment is not your thing, you can make a one-time producership in any amount. There's also cryptocurrency options for all you Bitcoin billionaires out there. And just there's also a lot of good information about the value for value model and our Knights and Dames program, which we'll talk about in a second. Gons, who has come in to twist the knife in the side of the advertising industry in breaking away from the mind control?
That's a very descriptive way of introducing our producers here for PayPal. Saul X2, is that Saul twice? Is that why?
Yes,
Saul X2.
That's Saul twice.
All right, Saul twice. Thank you,
yes.
Producer Saul.
Saul came in once last month or 2 weeks ago and last week. So thank you very much, Producer Saul. Very consistent.
Yes, and we also got one from, he changed his name again, Producer Still Protecting Those Bushes.
Yes.
Thank you, Producer Bush Protector, or Still Protecting Those Bushes.
Yes, and very generous. Thank you for your support.
Yes. Next up, Producer Spectre L.
Yes, Spectre L in the Twitch chat, and Siobhan, producer Siobhan. Yes. And fun thing about this producer, they are from Jamaica.
Ooh.
Or in Jamaica, or Jamaican.
Nice.
Yeah.
Spread the show in Jamaica. We could be Jamaica's #1 news outlet.
This makes me a little bit uncomfortable. Now I'm scared of ever doing a Jamaican accent and
offending everybody
and offending a producer.
No. Next up, we have Jason A.
Yes, thank you very much, Jason A. And Jason A mentions Night Me Gons. I think I made it. And we have seen the accounting from producer Jason A. And he is on the list to be knighted. And Jason, if you're listening, buddy, you got to send us your info. We need your knight name and your protectorate. So you can be Sir Jason A, if that's how you want to do it. Knight of the blank. And you can figure out whatever you want to be the protector of. And that also makes Jason the executive producer for this show. Thank you very much, Jason.
Andre in the chat, is Jason Canadian A?
Jason A?
Or is it the YouTuber Jason A? You know, that puts out all those videos with the headline or title.
Who are you, Jason?
Have you watched the Jason A videos?
Yeah.
It's like The one thing that nobody's talking about. And that's the title of like 10 of his videos.
Every video.
And he gets the views, man. He gets a lot of views.
Yeah.
But thank you, producer Jason. We'll be knighting you shortly. Maybe not today, actually. Not today, but
not today.
In the future. Next up, we have producer Ivan L.
Yes, thank you very much, producer Ivan L. And he's the only person who came in with the 2021 donation.
Yeah, we got one. Woo!
Yes, it's still early, folks.
Happy
you
New
can
Year
come in
to
with
us.
the 2021 New Year donation if you'd like. But thank you very much, producer Ivan.
Yes, and then next up, we have producer Alan P.
Thank you very much, Alan P.
And finally, producer Zephyr Book and Coffee.
Yeah, thank you very much, producer Zephyr Book and Coffee, coming in with the 33 donation.
Yeah, and is that Zephyr?
Sorry, producership. It's not a donation.
Yeah, you gotta watch your words there.
I know.
Give people the wrong impression.
Still rusty. Yeah, I don't know. This is the name that came in with the producership, and so I don't know. Maybe search Zephyr Books and Coffee and go say hi from Basil and Gons.
Yeah. Okay, that is the PayPal producers. You can help produce the show in other ways as well with your time and talent. And we don't have any jingles or new songs today, show-related music by our producers. But we did get an email from producer Brian, who had an idea that I think eventually we will do. We'll have to talk to Brian. Brian's the producer who wrote and recorded Robot Girls, Robot Boys.
Oh, cool.
At the end of the show, you guys know that song. And because of the recent calendar idea, it prompted him to submit an idea that he had long considered doing with the Canary Cry community. And he said, I know there are several musicians in the Canary Cry community, self included, and I thought that it may be of interest to them to come together on a compilation CD of music that is either show related or related to the topics that are discussed on the show. And, he goes into some of the details there cool. And how, people would submit it and we'll vet it and things like that. So, yeah, it's something that, I would
love to do that.
If we don't have to do all the work to put it together, that's kind of how this all works,
well,
right?
That's the point of having producers, Gons.
Yes, I know.
That's the thing. A lot of programs, it's just a couple of guys and they do everything, and which means they do very little because there's only so much that two guys can do. We have a great system where we have thousands of producers who produce things for us under the Canary Cry mission. And there's quite a few of these projects. One of them is the Canary Cry calendar, which we'll talk about, Canary Cry community, the Canary Cry prayer group. Oh, man. I think they have a fancier name, but there's the Canarians are a productive people.
They are.
And yes, producer Brian, I think that's a great idea. Let us know how we can help. That would be very cool.
Yep. And we'll look forward to something like that. And maybe Basil, you and I, if we can put some time to do it, we can put together a couple songs ourselves.
Do some background vocals.
Yeah.
Throw in some harmonies. Canary Cry merch perch. Thank you, Ebony Blaze. Yes, producer Dust has created Canary Cry merch perch, which we will talk about in a second as well.
But before we do, let's talk about the art.
One art, please.
We have some very talented artists who draw pieces for the show, all show related. This first one is from Allie, producer Allie.
Woo! Thank you very much, producer Allie. One of the youngest producers of the show, and she created a piece of art to go along with my description of Anthony Fauci last episode, how his whole thing's falling apart, how he's a billy goat losing his footing. And Allie has rendered this perfectly as, Anthony Fauci the billy goat. With a little sign that says, do what you're told. And he is losing his footing. That poor guy. And this poor little goat. But that's what you get.
This is a
Goatee Fauci.
Goat Fauci.
Goatee Fauci.
Yes. So this piece of art will go with this jingle here.
Now is the time to do what you're told.
Very good. Thank you very much, Producer Allie. And I recently saw some of Producer Allie's work for the Canary Cry calendar. Very excited for other people to see it.
Nice. Next up, we have Producer Grace coming in with a, it's kind of like a, what is it, a billboard type of thing here. And
is this in her series of quote art? What is this?
I think so, maybe.
Oh, this is stats.
Oh, stats.
Canary Cry stats.
Okay, that's what it is. Journaling our insanity or sanity online. I guess I said that. Apparently.
Yes, you did. I remember this.
Okay. I don't remember saying it. This is why we need producers like Grace.
Well, this is a great sort of like an infographic of some of our stats. We reached 281 episodes in 2020. We did 110 episodes in 2020. I think maybe even more than that. But one global scandemic, New World Order takeover, 15 plus stories per episodes, 1,615 plus stories in 2020, from anywhere from 30 minutes to 2+ hours. Year-end review 2020, Canary Cry News Talk. This is kind of like the Spotify year-end review.
Yeah.
2 Gon's compliments from Basil. I don't know. That seems like an inflated number, but okay. 100% exposing the truth. 1 Basil video game sesh. Oh, that was a good time. Man, this is like a nice walk through 2020. 1 Gon's baby week. Too many 33 updates. 2 Eyes of Sauron. 250 plus hours of content in 2020, 7 seasons of dank memes. Oh, that's fun. Referring to the dank memes threads in the Canary Cry community. In 2021, Flippy will still be stealing our jobs, enslaving our children, and becoming our spouses.
Very good.
Very good. Thank you very much, Producer Grace.
Excellent. Maybe I can put this in my CV that I can hand to the wife, you know?
Yeah.
Look what we did this year.
A CV for your wife.
Yeah. I need her approval.
Gotta keep her posted.
Continued approval of what I'm doing when I'm sitting here.
That's true. These are some good stats.
They are good stats. I appreciate it. It's nice to see it
when you disappear for 6 hours 3 times a week.
Right. Yeah. So thank you for that, Producer Grace. Keep bringing that stuff, the good art. And the quotes on the infographic, all that stuff. Great job. And lastly, we have Producer Jay Vela.
Oh, yay. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little while, but I'll let you describe. You do a better job of describing what's happening here.
Oh, thank you. I think that counts as a compliment, guys.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, I should make sure I don't do any more the rest of the year.
Early on.
I hit my quota.
Yes. So Jay Vela, as usual, thank you very much for the art. Let's start up in the top left corner. We've got a computer next to another computer, and all sorts of imagery of warfare and cyber warfare and stealth warfare up there. We've got missiles flying around, satellites, stealth, either stealth bombers or triangular UFOs, as well as a big old mushroom cloud coming off the Earth. And beneath that, we have Isaiah 21:8. My Lord, I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I am set in my ward whole nights. And surrounding this, or to the right of this, we've got a wall, a nice brick wall. It says on the wall. Kind of reminds me of off the wall. Oh, maybe that's what she's doing. Good job. And we've got some big old golden angels with some flaming torches and swords. And we've got Vela. Ooh, Vela's got a banner going. Lots of Vela stuff. Does Vela mean something?
I don't know.
Oh, hold on. Is Jay Vela in the chat?
Maybe.
Okay. I'm just taking a quick peek. I'm wondering. There's banners of Vela all over the place. My family crest. Oh, Jay Vela has changed their name. They're J Denver Airport artists. Oh man, I didn't say it. I was gonna say it. Their style reminds us of the Denver Airport murals. My family crest is the Watchman on the wall. Oh, very cool.
Okay,
Vela crest is literally the Watchman's torch. Oh, yes. This is cool. Okay,
it says in his note, not to be confused with the Raven. That's me in the gas mask on stilts, always holding the torch of the Watchman in my drawings.
Got it. Very cool. Wow. Well, great job. This is very fun. And
let me continue reading here, because it says, also just letting y'all know that I won't be able to join chats with my JVela Stioc, STIOC77 account. My office caught on fire New Year's Eve. And I lost everything in there, including my work computer that had that account. I will be on for now as J Denver Airport artist. I will continue to support the show by listening, and I will support in other ways soon as I get back on my feet. The devil was successful in pushing me out of my prayer closet. I will not falter. I will stay the course. Thank you. Thanks for your time, and God bless both you gentlemen. So, hey.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that. So sorry to hear about your, fire. What is that? His office? Yeah. We'll make sure somebody on the Canary Cry prayer group should make a note of that.
Yeah. But there you go. Yeah. Great art. Please keep bringing the art. Got a very distinct style.
Yes.
That most of our viewers and listeners would instantly recognize.
Very recognizable. Yeah.
Okay. So
thank you to all the artists and all the producers, and thank you to Jade Bouncerson for doing the timestamps on last episode. It really helps on the YouTube channels to make those timestamps available for those who want to skip around the episode based on subject matter rather than sit through the whole thing. And lastly, remember, you can go to the canarycrymerchperch.com. That's right, canarycrymerchperch.com. It is a little, not little, it's a magnificent e-shop where you can get all your
e-shop.
I don't know what I'm saying, but where you can get all your Canary Cry merch, and it's a lot of it is created with the art of the producers. It is run by producer Dust, and it's a great place because all the merch is sold at cost to try to keep the costs down for Canarians. You have an option to tip the artist, tip the webmaster, which please do both of those things, or you can tip Gonz and I as well. And it is the place where you can pre-order the Canary Cry 2021 calendar. Canary Cry calendar for 2021 is a very cool project that's been getting put together by some producers as well as some artists. Do we have any pictures of that we can show? Or
I'm showing it right now, and a note from
did? Okay.
Yeah, a note from Tinfoil Hat Man.
Okay.
Producer Isaac. Just to give you an update on the calendar, he said, I'm waiting the final files to send to the printers. I should have them today or tomorrow. After that, it should be a couple days at the printers. Then I can ship them the following day. So, yep, it's coming pretty soon here.
They're making it work. They're getting it done. That's right. Our producers make it happen. And this is a very exciting project. It's got, of course, 12 months with a bunch of Canary Cry artists, producers who have put together the images. And each month is just chock full of Canary Cry dates of note. And I wanted to get a list of them so I could read them, and I didn't do that. But lots of fun things like National UFO Day. I think National Cat Day is on there. We've got, and the art corresponds too. So lots of important dates. If you're a Canarian, you're going to want to keep track of those dates, and you'll be able to wake up and see, for instance, Gonz's birthday. I wonder if Baby Week made it on the
probably
on the
not.
calendar.
There's no new Baby Week unless I don't know something.
Uh-oh. Oh, that's a good point. Well, to celebrate the original Baby Week. But either way, go get it. Canary Cry calendar, pre-order now. And also that one, I think we actually do get some royalties on. So that's fun. Thank you very much to, what's producer Isaac's other name?
Is it producer? I don't know. Oh, no, the Tinfoil Hat Man?
Tinfoil Hat Man, yes.
Tinfoil Hat Man in the chat. And he also says, I would like to thank Charlie, producer Charlie, the biggest freaking thank you for all the work she's been doing on this. She's done a ton of work on it and really deserves the credit. I can fully say this project would not be possible without her.
Yeah,
so
thank you very much, producer Charlie. You do get a lot. Producer Charlie has really been very involved in 2020 and as well as many other producers. But there you go. Very big special thank you to producer Charlie for her work on the Canary Cry calendar.
Yes, thank you very much. And also, I think producer Charlie is Jade Bouncerson with the timestamps. So,
God, you're supposed to keep that a secret.
Oh.
Scrub it.
Reverse. Time. I just lied.
I don't know.
I'm a liar.
I just lied. Gons, you're such a liar. Okay, let's get back on track here.
Is that it? Everything?
That's it. Let's wake on up.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay.
Waccine, baby.
Waccine.
Waccine.
All right, so I want to go on a short rant here with this story. And actually, it's not even really a story. This is it's a very interesting post made by berthub.eu, and I think they have some kind of connection with the World Health Organization here. There's some kind of blog of theirs. But the headline is Reverse Engineering the Source Code of BioNTech/Pfizer SARS-CoV-2 Vaccine. And this was a very interesting post. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but it kind of proves that these vaccines are, at the very least, some kind of biohacking mechanism. So here's what it says. Welcome. In this post, we'll be taking a character-by-character look at the source code of the BioNTech Pfizer SARS-CoV-2 mRNA vaccine. Now, these
source code.
Yeah. So
they're talking about DNA code or computer code. What is?
Slow down.
Oh my gosh.
Now, these words may be somewhat jarring. The vaccine is a liquid that gets injected in your arm. How can we talk about source code? This is a good question, so let's start off with a small part of the very source code of the BioNTech Pfizer vaccine, also known as BNT162b2, also known as tozanamarin, also known as Comirnaty, I think.
That's crazy. I've never heard any of these words.
And it has a picture of the first 500 characters of the BNT162b2 mRNA, and the source is the World Health Organization. And if you look at it, what you'll notice is that, because, if you've studied a little bit of DNA in biology class, you have your letters, right? You got your basic letters.
Yeah, it's 4 letters, right?
Yeah, GCAU, right? But if you look at the image here, the U is replaced with basically what looks like
trident of some kind?
Yeah, trident.
That makes me think it's like a Greek letter or something. I don't know. Nothing I've seen before.
Yeah, so let me read it. The BNT162b2 mRNA vaccine has this digital code at its heart. It is 4,284 characters long, so it would fit in a bunch of tweets. At the very beginning of the vaccine production process, someone uploaded this code to the DNA printer. Yes, a DNA printer, which then converted the bytes on disk to actual DNA molecules. There's a picture of the Codex DNA Bio XP 3200 DNA printer.
I want to see how much I can buy one of these for.
Yeah. Out of such a machine come tiny amounts of DNA, which after a lot of biological and chemical processing end up as RNA, more about which later, in the vaccine vial. A 30 microgram dose turns out to actually contain 30 micrograms of RNA. In addition, there's also a clever lipid fatty packaging system that gets the mRNA into our cells. That's the nanoparticle section there. nRNA is a volatile, quote, working memory version of DNA. DNA is like the flash drive storage of biology. DNA is very durable, internally redundant, and very reliable, but much like computers do not execute code directly from a flash drive before something happens, code gets copied to a faster, more versatile, yet far more fragile system. For computers, this is RAM. For biology, it is RNA. The resemblance is striking. Unlike flash memory, RAM degrades very quickly unless lovingly tended to. The reason the Pfizer-BioNTech mRNA vaccine must be stored in the deepest of deep freezers is the same. RNA is a very fragile flower. Each RNA character weighs on the order of 0.53 to the 10th to, or times 10 to the negative 21 grams, meaning there are around 6 times 10 to the 16 characters in a single 30 microgram vaccine dose. Expressed in bytes, this is around 14 petabytes. Although it must be said this consists of around 13,000 billion repetitions of the same 4,084 characters. The actual informational content of the vaccine is just over a kilobyte. SARS-CoV-2 itself weighs in at around 7.5 kilobytes. The briefest bit of background. DNA is a digital code. Unlike computers, which use 0 and 1, life uses A, C, G, and U/T, the nucleotides or the nucleosides or bases. In computers, we store the 0 and 1 as the presence or absence of a charge, or as a current, as a magnetic transition, or as a voltage, or as a modulation of a signal, or as a charge and reflectivity. Or in short, the 0 and 1 are not some kind of abstract concept. They live as electrons and in many other physical embodiments. In nature, ACG and U/T are molecules stored as chains in DNA or RNA. In computers, we group 8 bits into a byte, and the byte is the typical unit of data being processed. Nature groups 3 nucleotides into a codon, and this codon is the typical unit of processing. A codon contains 6 bits of information, 2 bits per DNA character, 3 characters equals 6 bits. This means 2 to the 6th equals 64 different codon values. Pretty digital so far. When in doubt, head to the WHO document with the digital code to see for yourself. So what does this code do? Should I keep reading here, or do you want me to summarize some of this? Okay. The idea of a vaccine is to teach our immune system how to fight a pathogen without us actually getting ill. Historically, this has been done by injecting a weakened or incapacitated attenuated virus plus an adjuvant or to scare our immune system into action. This was a decidedly analog technique involving billions of eggs or insects. It also requires a lot of luck and loads of time. Sometimes a different unrelated virus was also used. An mRNA vaccine achieves the same thing, in other words, educates our immune system, but in a laser-like way. And I mean this in both senses, very narrow, but also very powerful. So here's how it works. The injections contain volatile genetic material that describes the famous SARS-CoV-2 spike protein. Though through clever chemical means, the vaccine manages to get this generic material into some of our cells. These then dutifully start producing SARS-CoV-2 spike proteins in large enough quantities that our immune system springs into action. Confronted with spike proteins and, importantly, telltale signs that cells have been taken over, our immune system develops a powerful response against multiple aspects of the spike protein and the production process. And this is what gets us the 95% effective vaccine.
Okay.
Okay, so
I did just scroll through this, and this is an incredibly long
it's long. That's why
article.
That's why I wanted to maybe skip through some things. But I think the important point here, let me get to it, because the source code, so it gets into some of the ways in which the code is laid out. But here's the let me get to the part where it becomes interesting. So some lingo here. mRNA molecules can only be read in one direction. Confusingly, the part where the reading begins is also called 5 or 5 prime. Technical blah, blah, blah. Okay, so here's where we encounter our first surprise. So when you look at the strand here, it's instead of the U/T, it's got that trident. The normal RNA characters are A, C, G, and U. U is also known as T in DNA. But here we find a trident. What's going on? This is one of the exceptionally clever bits about the vaccine. Our body runs a powerful antivirus system, the original one. For this reason, cells are extremely unenthusiastic about foreign RNA and try very hard to destroy it before it does anything. This is somewhat of a problem for our vaccine. It needs to sneak past our immune system. Over many years of experimentation, it was found that if the U in RNA is replaced by a slightly modified molecule, our immune system loses interest for real. So in the BioNTech Pfizer vaccine, every U has been replaced by 1-methyl-3 pseudouridylil. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Denoted by trident. The really clever bit is that although this replacement trident placates or calms our immune system, it is accepted as a normal U by the relevant parts of the cell. This is really interesting. In computer security, we also know this trick. It sometimes is possible to transmit a slightly corrupted version of a message that confuses firewalls and security solutions, but that is still accepted by the back-end servers, which can then get hacked. We are now reaping the benefits of fundamental scientific research performed in the past. The discoverers of this trident technique had to fight to get their work funded and then accepted. We should be very grateful, and I am sure the Nobel Prize will arrive soon with these people. Okay, so back to the whole thing here. When our cells need to translate RNA into protein, this is done using a machine called the ribosome. Is like a 3D printer for proteins. It ingests the strand of RNA, and based on that, it emits a string of amino acids, which then folds into a protein. And there's a little video showing that happening. So let me just summarize it because it does get kind of long here. Basically, what's happening is that by using this vaccine, they've replaced the U in a standard DNA strand or RNA strand with the trident to get past the cell without detection. It's a hack. It's the same way. It's the same way you hack computers or certain techniques to hack past firewalls, and they used it in the vaccine. These mRNA vaccines. So while it might be a little hasty to say that it completely changes our DNA, to the point of like being irredeemable, as some people have speculated, we can for sure say, and this is the science, this is a biohack. This vaccine is definitionally a biohack because
so they replaced the U or the T molecule with some other crazy molecule,
right? Which allows the whole thing to sneak in without your immune system freaking out and getting
interesting
and rejecting it basically.
Yeah, so that is some real. I mean, that is probably the most on the nose definition of biohacking I've ever seen.
That's what I'm saying. And what's interesting is that, talk about playing God, right? and getting into the nooks and crannies of our programming, our physical programming, that is. And so, I just wanted to bring this to the forefront because it's interesting. It's something that people have talked about with the Moderna website directly stating that, we're like software. And people have said like, okay, it's a little analogy taking place. I'm on the Moderna site right now, modernatx.com. And there's a little diagram that shows DNA. And it says storage. DNA stores instructions for proteins in the nucleus. And then it moves over to mRNA, which is software. mRNA is a temporary set of instructions for cells to make a protein. mRNA is made using DNA. And then that produces the protein application. Proteins from the basis of life by performing the functions required by every cell. Proteins are made using mRNA. And, people have pointed out our mRNA medicines, the software of life. And, at first even when I saw this, people sharing it, it was like, okay, they're just using the analogy here. It's a little sensational. And even for the fringe folks to be like, oh, see, they're changing our DNA. It's it's just a little sensational. But after reading that breakdown, it's kind of like, oh yeah, they're like literally, it is a real biohack. They're really tricking our system with a clever replacement of part of the strand there to get past the defense mechanism of our immune system, and to trick it into creating these proteins. And so,
it says at the end here, the codon optimization adds a lot of G and C to the mRNA. Meanwhile, using 1-methyl 3-pseudouridanyl.
Yeah, that's the name of the.
Wow.
The
1-methyl 3-pseudouridanyl instead of U helps evade our immune system. Huh.
Yep.
Wow. Well, I have never seen that technical of a breakdown, and that is very interesting. I'm going to have to spend more time looking at that, because why has it taken so long to get this technical explanation?
I don't know. And why is it from
some
random?
Been around?
I don't think so. Not to this detailed report from
December
Birth
25th.
Hub.
Interesting. Came out on Christmas.
On Christmas, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and this person seems to know what he's talking about. His background is I don't know, computer programming, DNA
that's
programming.
Certainly. I think this is an important thing. Remember, everybody, you can get the links to all these articles at canarycrynewstalk.com, and I recommend you spend the time and read through this, because, we've all seen the YouTube videos about some guy or some lady, I'm just going to say it, ranting and raving about how the vaccine is, changing our DNA, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of that it's, for me, we try to hold ourselves to a certain standard when we bring stuff onto the show, and don't want to do any sort of fear mongering without having understanding ourselves. There's this thing. Actually, this might be a good opportunity to talk about it. You've heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect, Gons?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Dunning-Kruger effect, for those who don't know, is the sort of psychological thing that has been found where pretty much the less somebody knows about something, the more sure they are that they know everything about it. And the more you know about something, the less sure you know everything about it. So that's why I'm a little wary of certain people who put out content where, oh my gosh, they are just absolutely certain they have the absolute truth about something that you would really need a lot of schooling to know about. And so, fighting the Dunning-Kruger effect is a very important thing to do in life, to really help keep a realistic vision of, a realistic worldview. And this is a great article to help work your way through the Dunning-Kruger effect, because it actually has the technical breakdown of what the vaccine actually is and what it's doing. And I'm going to want to spend some more time with this, Gons. Great find.
Yeah, it's again, I apologize for reading a lot of it and the technical nature of it. I thought I'd read part of it.
Very valuable.
Yeah, to get a feel for what this guy's saying. And clearly this guy's not like a fringe guy. He's like a pro-vaccine, pro-science kind of dude.
Of course.
Talking about how
that's what
it's a
makes
huge
it
breakthrough.
better.
Yeah. But in their own words, this is where you can definitely tell people, in their own words, the vaccine is a biohack.
And that's very interesting.
In a real tangible sense. There's other vaccines and stuff you can, or even medicine in general, you can kind of, if you finagle the term biohack, you could sort of make the argument.
Yeah.
But this one, just truly tricking the system. And I get it. There's lots of stuff that tricks the system into doing. A lot of medicine does that. But genetically is the breakthrough here. So.
Yeah. And again, I'll say it again. You can find all the links at canarycrynewstalk.com. After the show is posted, all of the links will be there. So you'll have to wait about an hour or so.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Wow. Well, shall we move on?
Let's move on. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to. We've been a little light on jingles this episode. Let's hit that WACCINE jingle again.
WACCINE.
Okay, this is from sciencemag.org. Suspicions grow that nanoparticles in Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine trigger rare allergic reactions. Severe allergy-like reactions in the last 8 people who received in at least 8 people who received the COVID-19 vaccine produced by Pfizer and BioNTech over the past 2 weeks may be due to a compound in the packaging of messenger RNA that forms the vaccine's main ingredient, scientists say. Could it possibly be 1-methyl-3-pseudorellyl, a similar mRNA vaccine developed by Moderna, which was authorized for emergency use in the United States on Friday, also contains the compound, polyethylene glycol. Oh, that doesn't sound good. This is actually another thing I wanted to bring up. We get a lot of people trying to explain to us how there are nanobots in the vaccine. And I think there are times when people are hearing the word nanoparticles and they
assume nanobots.
Assume that it's nanobots.
Yeah.
I have yet to see any real evidence that there are nanobots in the vaccine. And nanoparticles, which we know there are just really, really small particles, okay? They're not killer nanobots. PEG, polyethylene glycol, has never been used before in an approved vaccine, but it is found in many drugs that have occasionally triggered anaphylaxis, a potentially life-threatening reaction that can cause rashes, a plummeting blood pressure, shortness of breath, and a fast heartbeat. Some allergists and immunologists believe a small number of people previously exposed to PEG may have high levels of antibodies against PEG, putting them at risk of an anaphylactic reaction to the vaccine. Okay, so this kind of explains a lot of the reactions that we've been seeing, not just anaphylaxis, but also the plummeting blood pressure and shortness of breath, fast heartbeat that could have led to that nurse fainting on air.
Right.
Others are skeptical of the link. Still, the U.S. National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases was concerned enough to convene several meetings last week to discuss the allergic reactions with representatives of Pfizer and Moderna, independent scientists and physicians, and the Food and Drug Administration. NIAID is also setting up a study in collaboration with FDA to analyze the response to the vaccine in people who have high levels of anti-PEG antibodies or have experienced severe allergic responses to the drug or vaccines before. Until we know there is truly a PEG story, we need to be very careful in talking about that as a done deal, says Alkis Tagayas, branch chief of allergy, asthma, and airway biology at NIAID. Pfizer, too, says it is actively seeking follow-up. A statement emailed to Science noted it already recommends that appropriate medical treatments and supervision should always be readily available in case a vaccine develops vaccinee. Ooh, have you heard that? Vaccinee.
Vaccinee?
In case a vaccinee develops anaphylaxis. Vaccinee, someone who is being vaccinated.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Vaccinee. Anaphylactic reactions can occur with any vaccine, but are usually extremely rare, about 1 per million doses. As of 19th of December, the United States had seen 6 cases, yada, yada, yada. Toothpaste and shampoo. Pfizer's and Moderna's clinical trials of the vaccines, which involved tens of thousands of people, did not find serious adverse events caused by the vaccine, but both studies excluded people with a history of allergies to components of the COVID-19 vaccine. Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, good study, guys. Pfizer also excluded those who previously had a severe adverse reaction from any vaccine. People with previous allergic reactions to food and drugs were not excluded, but may have been underrepresented. The 2 vaccines both contain mRNA wrapped in a lipid nanoparticles that help carry it to human cells, but also act as an adjuvant, a vaccine ingredient that bolsters the immune response. The LNPs are PEG-elated, chemically attached to PEG molecules that cover the outside of the particle and increase their stability and lifespan. PEGs are also used in everyday products such as toothpaste and shampoo as thickeners, solvents, softeners, and moisture carriers, and they've been used as laxative for decades. Oh, great. An increasing number of biopharmaceuticals include PEGylated compounds as well. PEGs are long thought to be biologically inert, but a growing body of evidence suggests they are not. As much as 72% of people have at least some antibodies against PEGs, according to a 2006. That's a big amount of people to be able to have antibodies against the thing in the vaccine, according to a 2016 study led by Samuel Lai, a pharmacoengineer at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, presumably as a result of exposure to cosmetics and pharmaceuticals. About 7% have a level that may be high enough to predispose them to anaphylactic reactions, he found. Other studies have also found antibodies against PEG, but at lower levels. Wow, that's very interesting. 72% of people. That seems like it would make it a questionable ingredient in vaccines, with 7% of people potentially being susceptible to anaphylactic reactions. Huh. Okay. Well, there you go. So they're hoping they found the ingredient that is causing everybody to, I don't know, almost die after getting the vaccine.
Yeah, and there were reports of that Tiffany Dover lady, people looking up, deceased lists and stuff and found her name. And I don't know how, I couldn't recreate that thing. Like I went to the same.
Say that again?
The Tiffany Dover lady, the lady that passed out on camera.
Oh, right, yeah.
There were videos of people pulling up the list of people deceased in the area or whatever, and her name popped up, and she matched.
Really?
Yeah, but nobody can recreate it because you go to that website and you try to do it yourself, and you can't. So either they covered it up or whatever. I don't know. There were some
so they
debunks.
recorded the fainting lady as a death.
Well, no, somebody did. Somebody produced a video that shows that that Tiffany Dover was on some kind of, list of people that died in the last few weeks or whatever.
Oh, possibly from the vaccine, you mean?
Yeah, but
I see.
But again, we couldn't, or at least I couldn't duplicate that video and do it myself.
Okay.
That's part of what I'm trying to do, and it's true. She hasn't really come publicly to say I'm okay. As far as I know, there were some articles and stuff, but anyway, this is another one of those things where there's a lot of unknowns.
Well, this is a great segment because we're actually getting some of the technical analysis of the vaccine attached to these things instead of just some excited people trying to explain it.
I did see producer Mark in the chat say that calling the mRNA a biohack is just hype, and that we didn't understand the article.
Biohack doesn't seem like a very extreme term for it.
Well, what we were reading in the last article?
And we didn't call it a biohack. They called it a biohack.
Yeah, well, they said, kind of, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, there's, this kind of information, I don't think people like to sit and the professionals will see it one way, and then laymen's like us, when we dig into stuff like this, I mean, it only takes us so far. We're not practitioners in medicine. So, we're not the ones putting jabs in people's arms and stuff. So we can only conclude what we can from articles like this, where, people are trying to figure out what's going on, what would cause a whole bunch of allergic reactions. And, but it's tough because the trust level is definitely not high. According to, I have a paywall.
Well, and again, this is from sciencemag.com, which is a member of the American Association for Advancement of Science. So this is allegedly,
a credible source.
Supposed to be people knowing what they're talking about. And again, I don't think this is necessarily a super conspiratorial thing to say. I think
I don't either.
PEGs, what they've done is they at least have a candidate for what is causing all these allergic reactions that people are having.
Yeah, and again, I was trying to transition into the next story, which I found a paywall for, but it was LA Times. California healthcare workers refuse COVID-19 vaccine access. I think there was like 50% of.
Yeah, I still have my my one use of the Los Angeles Times, so I can read it here.
Okay, go ahead.
So it says some healthcare workers refuse to take COVID-19 vaccine even with priority access. They are frontline workers with top priority access to the COVID-19 vaccine, but they are refusing to take it. At St. Elizabeth's Community Hospital in Tehama County, fewer than half of the 700 hospital workers eligible for the vaccine were willing to take the shot when it was first offered. At Providence Holy Cross Medical Center in Mission Hills, 1 in 5 frontline nurses and doctors have declined the shot. Roughly 20 to 40% of LA County's frontline workers who were offered the vaccine did the same, according to the county public health officials. This is very interesting coming from LA County, Gons.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You think frontline.
I think around here people will be lining up, especially the healthcare workers, to get it. But I think a lot of people in the practitioners in medicine, they're like, "Hey, we haven't gotten it this far along, and we've been." Helping people out.
And it's been interesting because at least on social media, the only people I've seen who've gotten the shot have been medical workers, and they're very sort of preachy about it. I think maybe these medical workers are kind of told to be preachy about it to convince other people to get it, but that's just my discernment in it. But the article continues. So many frontline workers in Riverside County have refused the vaccine, an estimated 50%. That hospital and public officials met to strategize how best to distribute the unused doses. Public Health Director Kim Saurawatari said. This brings up an interesting point. We've been hearing so many reports about how Operation Warp Speed is failing, and they've only given out 4 million doses, and the president, the bad man, said they were going to give away 20 million doses, and they failed. Well, it seems like they're not giving out the doses because nobody wants it. I don't think this is a failure of Operation Warp Speed. I think this is a failure of the assumption that people are just going to get it willy-nilly.
Yeah, that they would trust the scientific dictatorship to roll out an
overestimation of the eagerness. The vaccine doubts swirling among healthcare workers across the country come as a surprise to researchers. Surprise! Who assumed hospital staff would be among the most in tune with the scientific data backing the vaccines. Maybe they are in tune with the scientific data, and that's why they're not getting it. But no, you have to put them down. The scientific evidence is clear regarding the safety and efficacy of the vaccines after trials involving tens of thousands of participants, including elderly people and those with chronic health conditions, but not those with known allergies. The shots are recommended for everyone except those who have had a severe allergic reaction to any of the ingredients. Still, skepticism remains. April Liu, a 31-year-old nurse at Providence Holy Cross Medical Center, said she refused to take the vaccine because she was not convinced it was safe for pregnant women. She was 6 months pregnant. Good for you, April Liu. That's using your head, lady. Clinical trials have yet to be conducted on pregnant women, blah, 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 blah. So there you go. But long story short, 50% of medical workers are not wanting to get it as well. So I think, and it's funny how they put them down. They insult the medical workers saying, oh, we thought you would be in tune with the science, but obviously not because you're not doing what you're told.
Yeah, my wife went to nursing school because she was potentially going to switch careers at one point to become a nurse, and she had to get certain vaccines to work in do some of the on foot on the ground type of stuff, and every one of her teachers and people that she worked with every one of them are like, yeah, the vaccine's probably not like the safest thing for you, but gotta take it if you want to work. So very interesting how the attitude of even in nursing school, you know, all the teachers are like, yeah, some issues, but most likely you'll be fine. But yeah, it's just interesting how the attitude is not like, oh, give me the jab now. But obviously there's some fear mongering happening because the vaccines.
It will kill.
This is NewYorkPost.com. Swiss nursing home resident reportedly dies after getting COVID-19 vaccine.
Oh, no.
December 30th, 2020. Nursing home resident in Switzerland who was among the first in the country to be vaccinated against COVID-19 later died. But officials did not indicate whether the death was related to the jab, according to reports, of course.
Oh, yeah. There's no way to know. How could we possibly know?
Yeah. If that wasn't enough, over here on RT, this is so many layers because it's RT.
Yeah.
But the headline is, hundreds of Israelis get infected with COVID-19 after receiving Pfizer BioNTech vaccine, reports.
That is a lot of layers.
And I know you got Russia today, you got Israelis, you got the vaccine. It's just so many things. And the picture is a rabbi-looking guy with a long beard getting the jab there. And the caption, I love the caption. An ultra-Orthodox Jewish man receives a vaccination against the coronavirus disease.
Jeez.
Yeah. And
you know, that reminds me, we need to get a clip of Fauci being anti-Semitic.
Ooh, oh, that's right.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah. He's like trying to explain, I don't know, just going on some Fauci rant about, we got to get
Jews.
It was when he was changing his, you know, when I think we played the clip actually, when he was stumbling through trying to explain why he changed his herd immunity definition. And he's like, oh, well, with measles, you know, those Orthodox Jews who all got measles because they're not It's like, whoa, you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to say it like that. Like, bro. Chill out. Anyways,
so this story says, with the vaccine not providing immediate immunity to the coronavirus, over 200 Israeli citizens have been diagnosed with the disease days after getting the Pfizer BioNTech jab, local media reports. The number of those who got COVID-19 despite being vaccinated was at around 240 people, according to the data from Channel 13 News. The Pfizer BioNTech vaccine, which the Israeli health authorities rely on, doesn't contain the coronavirus and can't infect the recipient, but time is needed for the genetic code in the drug to train the immune system to recognize and attack the disease. And it goes on from there. So, very interesting. You know, again, people think that it's going to work right away, but no, right. Got to have more days. And
well, that's what we're told. And we just do what we're told.
And just do as you're told.
Okay. And, I got one here for you.
Okay.
Reuters.com, Mexican doctor hospitalized after receiving COVID-19 vaccine. Yeah, who knew? Mexican authorities said they were studying the case of a 32-year-old female doctor who was hospitalized. 32, I know, so close. After receiving the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine, the doctor, whose name has not been released, was admitted to the intensive care unit of a public hospital in the northern state of Nuevo León after she experienced seizures and difficulty breathing and the skin rash. You've been seeing a lot of this skin rash thing, too.
Yeah, which doesn't help, which I guess that's somewhat, I'll give a half a point to this is the mark of the beast people, because there is a passage that says that the people who take the mark, they get, boils and stuff all over their body.
Oh, so, interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll put one tick on that T-chart.
Yeah.
Quote, the initial diagnosis is encephalomyelitis. We've read that word hundreds of times and we still get stuck on it.
It's just a hard word, yeah.
The initial diagnosis is encephalomyelitis, Dang it. I thought I had it that time. The health ministry said in a statement released on Friday night, encephalomyelitis is an inflammation of the brain and spinal cord. The ministry added that the doctor has a history of allergic reactions and said that there is no evidence from clinical trials that anyone has developed an inflammation of the brain after the vaccine's application. Okay. So there you go. It was, but it wasn't the vaccine, according to experts.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what's happening? It seems like all these headlines, they're trying to get the clicks of the skeptics as
Totally.
sort of a way to bait them into sharing it.
You're
Like,
exactly right.
see, look at this. It's
Yeah.
happening. And then every single one of these articles is kind of like, well, not for sure, but
I think you're exactly right. They're trying to catch the vaccine skeptics with the headline, and then really just say, no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Without saying anything. Like they underestimate the diligence of the vaccine
well,
skeptics.
they're
Like,
not wrong to a certain degree. People will share these headlines.
No,
and-
they'll definitely share it for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not convincing. There's like, but it wasn't though.
Right. I know.
Okay.
None of it.
I
none of
guess
it-
I'll go get a vaccine now.
Well, and that's kind of, I think they're trying to help out the pro-vax people because
Yeah, of
anybody
course.
who shares these articles, they can say, well, did you actually read the article?
It said it wasn't.
Said it wasn't. So did you read it? So that whole back and forth.
Right.
Social media ammunition. That's all. It seems like all articles and headlines is just ammunition for social media. That's all it is.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. This article from NBCnews.com, Wisconsin hospital employee fired, arrested after intentionally destroying 500 doses
Oh
of
my
COVID
gosh,
vaccine.
I saw this.
Yeah, this is crazy.
This is maximum anti-vax
I know.
situation.
A
Let's hear
Wisconsin
it.
hospital employee has been fired and arrested after removing dozens of vials of the coronavirus vaccine from a pharmacy refrigerator, intentionally destroying more than 500 doses, a hospital investigation found. The incident happened over the weekend at the Aurora Medical Center in Grafton, north of Milwaukee. Grafton police announced the arrest of the pharmacist Thursday, but did not name the man or identify a motive. We can speculate on the motive there. Police said in a statement they arrested the former employee on suspicion of recklessly endangering safety, adulterating a prescription drug, and criminal damage to property. The damage she caused, quote, was estimated to be between $8,000 and $11,000, police said. Initially, it appeared that the 57 vials of the Moderna vaccine, which must be kept between 36 and 46 degrees Fahrenheit, had been left out overnight accidentally, hospital officials said. Each vial holds approximately 10 doses of the vaccine, but Wednesday, the Aurora Medical Center announced the hospital worker involved, quote, acknowledged that they intentionally removed the vaccine from refrigeration. Quote, we continue to believe that vaccination is our way out of the pandemic. We are more than disappointed, the hospital said in a statement, adding that the employee has been terminated. Quote, this was a violation of our core values. Again, just really
Money.
going for the money and money. Yeah, that's the reality of the situation. Whereas the other guy, the guy who did this, is probably his core motive was probably more like, I'm trying to save you from the biohack.
It was a real drastic move. I mean, this is a real. He's
You knew this was
really
going to happen, though.
taking it to the next level.
Yeah, you knew this was going to happen. They just get into a little more details here. I don't think we have to necessarily read it. It says here the pharmacist is currently being held at Ozaukee. I don't know how to say that. Ozaukee. Ozaukee County Jail.
As the Black Lives Matter protesters learned us, destruction of property is not violence. So,
well, especially the problem with this guy, I don't know what the rules are in Milwaukee over there, in Wisconsin, but if it was in California, if he had destroyed it and it was less than $1,000 worth of damage, then he couldn't, they wouldn't have arrested him. That's the cutoff, right? I think it's $1,000. You can steal or break property if it's less than $1,000. The police will not respond.
Yeah.
So,
well, see, that was his mistake, is doing too much of it.
Yeah. There's a story. There's one story that we included in here. It's about masks. I think it'll be good for you to read this one. It's I don't know. It's not that long, but it's
I'll take a run at it.
Okay.
But something to note. This is from scipost.org. And I don't know if you see the little icon on the tab, Gons.
It's a
or if you can
trident.
show that. Yes,
it's a trident.
It's the trident for 1-methyl-3 pseudo-uracil. Okay. Here we go. Headline is Americans with authoritarian tendencies. Americans with authoritarian tendencies are less inclined to wear masks amid COVID-19 pandemic.
What? Wait, if we were doing like a quiz, just quizzing the public, and we said which Americans or what Americans tend to have authoritarian tendencies, pick a side.
The
Democrat,
mask wearers
Republican,
or not mask wearers? Who's more authoritarian?
Yeah.
I would not have ever guessed that it was the non-mask wearers.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see what they say.
That's weird. People in the United States with more authoritarian tendencies are less likely to wear a mask when going out in public. This is so crazy. This is more propaganda of Republicans are fascists.
Yeah.
People in the United States with more authoritarian tendencies are less likely to wear a mask when going out in public. Not the ones wearing the mask screaming and throwing things at the people who are not wearing a mask, which might be explained by the fact they also tend to be less concerned about the impact of COVID-19, according to new exploratory research published in Frontiers in Psychology. This is, from SciPost. Maybe this is a reverse psychology experiment, this article.
Yeah, well, just keep reading because there's a point at which this entire thing is based off of that should be noted. But go on.
Yeah. Deborah in the YouTube, this more absurd gaslighting.
Yeah.
This is maybe the epitome of gaslighting.
Yeah.
Gaslighting is not a thing, and you're crazy for thinking so.
Yeah.
Quote, I became interested in authoritarianism and conspiracy theories in graduate school. Oh my gosh, my brain just keeps glitching the lab at which I trained studied the neuropsychology underpinnings of a number of cognitive and personality related variables, usually using measures of cerebral lateralization such as handedness as our main neuropsychological variable. This said study author, hold on. I became interested in authoritarianism and conspiracy theories in graduate school. Okay. The lab at which I trained studied the neuropsychological underpinnings of a number of cognitive and personality related variables, usually using measures of cerebral lateralization such as handedness as our main neuropsychological variable. Okay. So they're studying authoritarianism and conspiracy theories and the underpinnings of which hand you are, left-handed or right-handed. Said study author Eric Pritchard, an assistant professor at the University of Arkansas at Monticello. Quote, as the virus became more widespread and we noticed a segment of the population resisted wearing masks and denying the existence/severity of the virus, we felt it was important to use our experience studying individual difference variables to try to help and shed light on some of the behaviors and attitudes that were contributing to the spread of the virus. The researchers conducted an online survey, of 189 U.S. adults in June using Amazon's Mechanical Turk service. The survey included an assessment of authoritarianism in which participants indicated their level of agreement with statements such as, our country desperately needs a mighty leader who will do what has to be done to destroy the radical new ways and sinfulness that are ruining us. What in the world?
Okay.
And
Okay,
here's another one. Hold on, let me finish this one. The only way our country can get through the crisis ahead is to get back to our traditional values, put some tough leader in power, and silence the troublemakers spreading bad ideas. Wow. Wow. This is really intense.
It's made you speechless, but also this entire thing is based on 189
I know,
an online survey of less than 200 people.
189 people is such an insanely small amount of people for this study. Oh my gosh. And also, I mean, what does it sound like? Put some tough leader in power and silence the troublemakers spreading bad ideas. That sounds like Kamala Harris to me.
Or something.
The researchers found that participants with more authoritarian tendencies were less concerned about the virus's impact on their own and others' health. I would like to see a list of all the questions.
Yeah.
They only give us those two. I want to see I want to take this test.
Yeah. Keep going. It's better.
They were also less inclined to wear masks and heed the advice given by experts and scientists. Okay, seems opposite of authoritarianism, but okay. But those, wow, sorry, a cat just clawed my leg. But those with authoritarian tendencies were more likely to believe China was directly responsible for the infection rates and death toll from COVID-19 in the United States. People who endorsed conspiracy beliefs, such as that technology with mind control capacities is used on people without their knowledge,
which is a fact, by the way. That's a fact.
Not even a conspiracy theory. We're also more likely to blame the virus on China. But that makes sense. But unlike authoritarianism, conspiracy beliefs were positively associated with concern for one's personal health and unrelated to the tendency to wear a mask. Men also tended to be less concerned about the virus overall compared to women, but did not express a lower tendency to wear masks. Quote, there appear to be personality and individual differences, which are systematically related to behaviors that increase the spread of the virus, Pritchard told SciPost. Quote, a colleague of mine at the University of Arkansas at Monticello and I plan to run a study which we believe will replicate some of these findings, but it is always important to consider a finding tentative as the replication and verification process plays out. Okay, so we have an unverified study.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think you have to necessarily read the rest here.
I don't think so either. I'm kind of skimming. I think it's a lot of the same stuff. We got to find, the study. Here we go. Frontiersin. Frontiersin.org. Like Frontiersin? Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay, here's the study. I want to hold on. Give me a second. Put on the elevator music.
Okay, I'm scrolling through it as well. Procedures, instruments. Okay, here's some questions. How worried and concerned are you about your personal health? How worried and concerned are you about your financial situation?
Yeah.
And then there's the expert response to COVID-19.
Okay.
I think this is agree or disagree. Go ahead.
I found a longer list here.
Okay.
It's important to listen and hear advice given by politicians. Okay, so how worried and concerned are you about your personal health? How worried and concerned are you about your financial situation? How worried and concerned are you about the personal health of your fellow citizens? How worried and concerned are you about the financial situation of your fellow citizens? How often do you wear a mask when going out in public? Is it important to listen to and heed the advice given by experts and scientists? Is it important to listen and to heed advice given by politicians and public figures? China is directly responsible for the infection rates and death toll in the United States.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a one non sequitur there.
It's a 1 to 7 too. So 1 being strongly disagree, 7 strongly agree. So, I mean, okay, look, this type of thing, it's got a whole
The problem with it, just on its face, is depending on the bias of the researchers, you can create the study to say basically whatever you want, and that's explicit with the question. Let me bring it up. Where is it? Our country desperately needs a mighty leader who will do what has to be done to destroy the radical new ways and sinfulness that are ruining us. You're not going to get any liberal person just by putting the term sinfulness in there.
Yeah.
You're not going to get any liberal or Democrat to agree to that simply by the language of putting sinfulness that are ruining us.
Yeah, they use a generic conspiracist belief scale, which was created in 2013 by Brotherton. It's a 15-item scale which measures degree of belief in conspiracies, which the authors define believing in conspiracies when more prosaic explanations are more likely. So, see, that's the thing. There's no consensus or like conclusion on some of these items here. Example items include, quote, the government is involved in the murder of innocent citizens and or well-known public figures and keeps this a secret.
That's not even conspiracy thinking.
No.
That's on record.
Yeah. Ever heard of Kennedy?
Well, yeah, I don't think that's on record, but
yeah, it's pretty close. Secret organizations communicate with extraterrestrials, but keep this fact from the public. All right, maybe a little more ambiguous.
Of course, they keep it secret. Look in the bill that just passed. They are keeping secrets about UFOs. That's not conspiracy thinking. That's just reading legislation.
So then they use the authoritarianism scale created by Ratazzi in 2007. And that's where you get all those questions about, our country desperately needs a mighty leader and all that stuff. Whatever. This is kind of like a lot of this stuff seems like, just reinforcing. And that's what I found, especially when I was at University of California, Irvine. I noticed that a lot of what you do in college is regurgitate and affirm previous studies.
Oh, that's all it is.
And source them, and then they said it, and then I see the same thing.
Yeah,
and you're discouraged from really going out of bounds.
In college.
Right. Just so you can regurgitate some of that information. So this kind of study is sort of an example of that. That we're using the conspiracy scale provided by whoever and another authoritarian scale created by and it's like, whatever.
Wow.
Come up with your own thing and get a bigger sample size and 189 people or whatever.
We're using Amazon's Mechanical Turk. You should be able to do 30,000 people with that. You don't need to. Why stop at 189? Well, it's because at 150 they got the results they wanted, and the next 39 people, they realized their results were going in the wrong direction, so they stopped it.
I got more than 20 times that number of people on a poll on YouTube.
Yeah, you can do it on Twitter.
You can do better. Do better, folks.
You know what? It would be very interesting to do. It would take all these questions, recreate the whole survey, and just do it on a Twitter post.
Oh yeah.
And like you did with your vaccine Mark of the Beast poll.
Mm-hmm.
We should just do it ourselves. Take their exact. We could replicate this ourselves.
We could. That's a lot of work, though.
We
could, work to make a point.
Will we?
That we're making right now.
We'll see. We'll see how much time we have over the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh,
which is not much. The last little quick thing here from the WACCINE update here. This is New York Post. UK allows mixing COVID-19 vaccines as experts warn of risks. I thought you're not supposed to mix and match, but
no, that sounds wrong.
British health officials will now allow people to mix COVID-19 vaccines as the pandemic rages on, but experts warn it could be risky. The tweak in vaccine advice, which come as the country grapples with new, highly contagious mutation of the virus, marks a surprising departure from previous guidance and a starkly different approach to the vaccine rollout in the U.S. I don't know. Now you got hybrid vax.
They approved the AstraZeneca. I don't know if I got that update.
I think there was another country that did that too. I don't remember what it was. Maybe India or something. But yeah, there you go. I don't know.
Wow.
This seems like a mess. The whole thing seems like a mess.
Let's start landing this plane here. What do you got for the end of the show?
I just wanted to bring.
Do you want to do this?
Yeah, just real quick, because this is another point of contention amongst the anti-vax community, and they'll say that, vaccines are made out of, aborted babies is a term you often hear. And I did a little bit of digging because I wanted to know where that was coming from. And this is France24.com. I won't read the whole thing. How fetal cells from the 1970s power medical innovation today. And it gets into...
there's a great Radio Lab episode about this.
I think I missed that one. Maybe they do talk about this. But it says it's no secret that thousands of laboratories around the world use cells derived from a fetus that was aborted decades ago to develop vital medicines. But it is contentious. But it is a contentious topic in the U.S., where conservatives and anti-abortion activists have long deemed the practice unethical. The matter is once more under the spotlight after President Donald Trump was treated for COVID-19 using Regeneron's antibody treatment. The company used aborted fetal cells as part of its testing process. It's the cell line is called HEK, the HEK 293. Mm-hmm. And when you go down the rabbit trail, and you can, I'm not going to go through the whole thing here, but the origin cells were transformed. Hold on. Was there, okay. So basically the origin of this, I guess I'll just read it. The original cells were transformed and immortalized in January 1973 by a young Canadian postdoc by the name of Frank Graham, who was working at the time in Leiden, the Netherlands, in the laboratory of Professor Alex van der Eb. Normally, a cell has a finite number of divisions, but Graham managed to modify these cells so that they divide ad infinitum. This was his 293rd experiment, hence the name of the line. HEK stands for Human Embryonic Kidney Cells. Quote, use of fetal tissue was not uncommon in that period. Graham, a professor emeritus at Canada's McMaster University, who now lives in Italy, told AFP, abortion was illegal in the Netherlands until 1984, except to save the life of the mother. Consequently, I have always assumed that the HEK cells used by the Leiden lab must have derived from a therapeutic abortion. And so, it does bring up a very interesting ethical question, because all of these HEK 293 experiments and a lot of the vaccines, I think there was the mRNA vaccines tested on using HEK 293, but they don't, HEK 293, but they don't have them in the vaccine. But that's not true for all the vaccines. I think some other ones, I think I read somewhere that there are vaccines, the Johnson & Johnson and a couple other ones do have the HEK 293 as part of the vaccine itself, or at least the loading process. Okay, so there's another sciencemag.org article here that says at least 5 candidates of the COVID-19 vaccine use one of 2 human fetal cell lines. HEK 293, a kidney cell line widely used in research and industry that comes from a fetus aborted in about 1972. A proprietary cell owned by Janssen, a subsidiary of Johnson & Johnson.
Johnson & Johnson's
Janssen, that's right. Developed from retinal cells from an 18-week-old fetus aborted in 1985. Both cell lines were developed in a lab of molecular biologists, blah, 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 same information there.
Yeah.
So, okay, so anyway, yes, these cells are from aborted fetuses or aborted babies there.
Well, cell lines.
Cell lines.
Yeah.
And so the way these scientists talk about it is that, hey, we didn't discard the aborted fetus. It's helping people. Look how many people it has helped in the long run. And also, we're not continually aborting babies to have to test virus or vaccines and viruses on. So that's sort of the moral argument that scientists give, which I find interesting because it appeals to the kind of argument that you make with the Native Americans, like, we kill, or just hunters in general, right? We hunt animals, but we will use every part of the animal to feed and to, there's like a respect aspect to this.
Right.
So it is interesting.
At least that's how it's presented.
That's how it's presented. And again, I'm not saying that that's right.
Well, it's just more complicated.
It's more complicated. That's
a complication with a lot of this stuff. And I don't know, we've spent probably more time than is smart for us to spend debunking a lot of alarmist claims about things.
Well,
But just to have the scientific part
argument
of the understanding, and again, there's not us making an argument, but just to understand the technical thing with these fetal cells. These are and a lot of them there's many lines, but there's also laws and rules around creating more of these lines, which is why they're using lines from like 50 years ago.
I think that's what it is. The HEC 293 is the same from 30 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, so back when there was less regulations, they got fetal cells from abortions. I don't know. Like I said, there's a number of different lines. And what they do is they just culture and grow more of those.
Right, which
so it's
has
a
its
little
own
bit different
ethical...
than the presumption when we hear about fetal cells being used in vaccines now and other medications now and testing. The assumption is, all of the current abortions going on are getting ground up and put in vaccines.
The reason,
it's not exactly what's going on. These are cell lines that are cultured and basically reproduced in a petri dish for decades.
Right. And I wanted to bring this up just to, I guess move along the conversation. And if we're going to argue about the ethics of this, let's actually argue the true ethics of the science and what they're doing, because there is an ethical argument to be made on either side. Whether it is a little creepy to think that, we're using the cells from an aborted fetus from 30 years ago still today to test things. It's a little weird. Yeah. So, I mean, again, there's an argument to be made against it.
And our resident microbiologist and Numati too in the chat,
producer Mark.
Yes, producer Mark. He is also laying some of this out in the chat. If somebody wants more, well, if you want it from the mouth of a 25-year career microbiologist,
right?
He's laying it in there.
Yeah. I will end with this. And I'll end it with scripture. It's just an interesting point to bring up. And I don't actually 100% agree with this interpretation of the vaccine. But, and I'm sure people have pointed this out, Revelation 6, verse 2, I looked and behold a white horse, and he who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went out conquering and to conquer. Now, obviously, you have the crown there and the coronavirus as one point of connection. But the word bow, like a bow, in the Greek is toxon, Toxon. And it's the origin of the word where we get poison or toxic.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it from the Greek toxicon or pharmacon. And it's the poison that was used on arrows, which is very interesting, right? And so there's an argument to be made. Some people have made the argument that Revelation 6:2 there, and most people agree that that's talking about the man of sin who arrives and conquers and everything, that they'll do it via vaccine because of the bow being a word that is derived,
referring specifically to a piercing implement that has poison in it or on it.
And the origin or the sometimes the word, they have I guess what's the word I'm looking for? Not the prime word or there's like derivations of the word. It comes from the Greek tikto, Tikto, and that actually means to bring forth, bear, produce fruit from the seed, like a woman giving birth or the earth bringing forth its fruits. So something, when we talk about genetically changing stuff, there is something of an argument to be made from these passages. But if you look at the use of bows in the rest of the Bible, it's more about an actual, arrow, some kind of weapon. But tying it back to the Space Needle, it's just something to think about. It is very strange that we have these jabs with all this pharmakia in them.
That's very interesting.
Coming out to conquer and changing our lives as we speak here, living in the beginning days of 2021. So, yeah, something for you to study, all you out there. And again, I'm not coming to any hard conclusions about the interpretation of this passage, but yeah.
Interesting connection.
Interesting stuff. Yep.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Should we land this long flight we've been on here?
How long have we? Yeah, we should. I gotta get out of
here.
Too
long.
Oh my gosh.
We need to get out of here. Yeah. Okie dokie, folks. There you go. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, here's the thing. We are back on track, folks. So we are going to be back on Wednesday, the 6th. Wednesday, January 6th. Sometime. Is that an early one? When are we doing there?
Yeah, we're going to try to do a little. I have a hard out on Wednesday. So
okay.
Really
so
have
probably somewhere around noon, right?
Yes. Hopefully noon
or earlier.
Pacific time.
So somewhere around noon Pacific Standard Time, we'll be back. So make sure to put it on your calendar, write a little note, and most of all, remember to subscribe to multiple platforms if you want to make sure to get the notification. Twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio, YouTube.com/Canary Cry Radio, DLive, Periscope, we're all over the place. Make sure to do that so you don't miss a show. And we'll be keeping an eye out for more and new and returning and our lovely producers to help keep this show going. Remember, you have a choice to invest in your own media future, to rebel against the iron fist of advertising that has just screwed so many things up in this world of ours. So if you don't want to be dependent on the brainwashing given to you to have, to get the programs you desire, become a producer of the show. It's a great thing. Not only do you get to invest in something you know and love, but it's also an investment in yourself and your children, because the world is changing, folks. It's going to be different, and this is just the way we got to go. So thank you so much to our producers of today's episode 282. That's producers Ted, Laura, Melissa, Patreon account of the year, Saul, still protecting those bushes, Spectre, L, Jason, Ivan, Alan, and Zephyr Book and Coffee. Thank you guys so much for keeping the show going. And thank you to our artiste producers, Allie, Grace, and Jay Vela, as well as Jade Bouncerson for the timestamps. Are you saying something over there?
No, I'm doing sound effects.
Oh, okay.
You probably
and remember, folks, to head over to canarycrymerchperch.com. Get your early order of the Canary Cry calendar. It's almost ready. It's going to the printers any day now. So you're going to want to get your pre-orders in. That really just helps our producers know how much to print, so you don't have to wait for it. So order it now at canarycrymerchperch.com.
Oh, am I supposed to play the jingle?
Sure.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Oh. You know, a fun thing, for the Christmas holiday, I received an axe throwing kit.
Ooh.
Yes, a big wooden thing and some throwing axes. So I've been out pretty much every morning. I go out and throw axes to start my day, and it's been really fun. Kind of work. I'm getting pretty good at it too. I figure, I'll want to have my throwing skill up in case there's the firearms aren't an option at some point. And what was I going to say? Oh, I was out there throwing axes one morning, and 3 hawks came swooping like really close down to me and landed in a tree like 10 feet away. And it's the most I've ever felt like a Viking ever. So this is a fun experience. Why am I saying this? Oh, the Canary Cry Merch Perch thing reminded me. So that's a fun thing that happened. Okay, and here's the thing. There's other ways you can help out the show. You can, give in your time or your talent. Remember, you can create jingles or music or art, and we will feature them on the show. Send them to canarycryradio@gmail.com. and we'd love to feature them on the show. You can also leave ratings and reviews. Very important, very underrated way of helping out the show, especially, if you're not going to create some sort of art or music, or if supporting financially is not in the cards for you. Leaving a rating and review is super important. I know it seems small, but it is not. Though she be small, she is mighty. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Search Canary Cry News Talk and leave a review. Very important. Tells the algorithms to share the show with people who have not heard it before. Also, if you're still here on YouTube or wherever you are watching, make sure to hit that thumbs up. There's another way of manipulating the Skynet algorithms to sharing the show with people who have not heard it before. And lastly, you can post about us on social media. Share an episode. Post it on your Twitter or your Facebook or whatever you use, Parler. It just helps people find the show and lets people know that you're so woke and on the level. And it really helps out. As we saw with the Canary Cry knife drawing media blitz, social media blitz, it brings thousands of new people to find the show and enjoy and join on the live broadcasts and make some new friends. And remember to head over to canarycry.community. It is our off Facebook algorithmless social media platform where you can meet other Canarians just like you, not just talk about crazy things like the news and conspiracy theories and biblical prophecy, but also just regular stuff like memes and recipes and prayer requests. And, if you're just having a problem and nobody else is listening to you, go hang out there and post it, and some lovely Canarians would love to get involved or just listen and commiserate with you. So go ahead and do that. canarycry.community. It's a real URL. I know, it's crazy. And lastly, just tell your friends, tell your family. You got this friends and family waking up, learning that the world is not what it seems, and they would love to connect with you by listening to your favorite podcast. And if you need any other instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
Everybody loves waffles.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. All right, folks, remember, Wednesday, the 6th of January, 2021. We'll be back. Be here or be square. Gons, any last words?
Thank you guys for being here. And January 6th, we will see what's going to unravel.
Oh, yeah. That's a big deal.
We can maybe just live stream on the side what's happening with the whole situation with the protests and everything.
Yeah,
we
that'll
will
be very
comment on it, even though we're not a political show.
That'll be very exciting. And lastly, I'm just seeing it now over here on Facebook. Apologies, I don't check my Facebook all the time. But I don't know how to say it. It's a little sad, Gons. We lost a wonderful Canarian recently.
No.
Yeah. It was Jedediah Martin, who's very active in the Canary Cry community, especially over there on Facebook. Oh. And yeah, recently passed. I just saw this. That's too bad. So our prayers go out to his family and his friends and the rest of the Canarians that, made good friends with this guy. He was he's kind of a funky dude. Yeah, so he will be, I wonder if they get podcasts in heaven. Anyways, we'll see him when we get there as well. So, there you go. Okay. Well, on that note, thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy.
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
Ready?
Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, man.
It's a bidet. Don't get me started.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You and you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on.